Hey, it's the Low Life Podcast.
Do you know anything about cowboys? Can you jam to the songs of cowboys and service stations? Ever read Neuromancer? Ever experienced the new wave? Next wave? Dream wave? Or cyberpunk? I didn't think so. In there, it's a world where you can do the same thing. I know what you look like. A world where curiosity and imagination.
I'd buy that for $1. Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Shut up and get in the car!
Go away, Baton.
Well, you're in the neon dystopia, and this is the Low Life Podcast. I'm CoinOps McGillicuddy here with my friend Dan
Hey, how you doing, y'all?
Scum.
Hey, how you doing? I'm a fucking cowboy.
He's Shadow Link
Howdy, howdy.
and Less Than Zero.
How do there, Pilgrim? I reckon you done found the lowlife bunch.
How's this fucking horse work? Do we get guns?
You gotta put shoes on it.
It ain't got
Yeah.
strings.
So, I can't keep that up.
I'm from Kentucky, beloved. I can't keep it up.
Yeah, I was going to say I could channel my ancestors.
I'm not sure
long
there's
as I
any
need.
way to stop him,
Yeah, no, I could do that. I could do that literally the whole episode.
You call in the Jersey Kid.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort to pretend like I know how to lasso and shoot a gun and ride a horse. Anyhow, before we get started, we should mention let's do the ads. We got the neondystopia.com. There's a bunch of writing on there. We got some new writing on there.
Yeah.
Fresh fiction.
Twice a month you get some new writing.
Sometimes 3 a month.
Yeah. If there's a weird week thing going on. It's every other week.
Scum, what's the most
bi-weekly.
recent one that we have?
No, we have to settle this. What is bi-weekly? Twice a week or every other week?
No.
I think
Every
it's
other-
when you
by
like
monthly.
both weeks, whether
Bi-monthly.
they're
Yeah.
a guy week or a girl week. It's
Yeah. Our latest story on Neon Dystopia is the wonderful noir tale Journeywoman by P.L.R. Mosi.
Yeah, it slaps.
It's pretty
I
great.
mean,
All right.
It's
Or
pretty
it
great.
punches, really, but it's
Ah.
God.
There you go.
We don't see enough boxing / sports noir type
Yeah, I was really-
cyberpunk stories.
Yes.
So this
Yeah,
one was a really good read.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Hell yeah.
That's
And
right.
that's, we pay the writers from the money from our Patreon. So thank you to all our patrons for helping us keep doing this.
Yes, thank you guys.
That's that. It's at patreon.com/neondystopia. Kick us $1 if you wanna. There's more.
Yes.
Like we said in other podcasts, it's like $4 million per person to shut us up or something. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah,
My price is still $8 million.
Yeah, we're just trying to avoid sponsors so that nobody tells us what the fuck to do.
visit the Patreon. Your donation of $1, $10, $10,000, whatever you can spare, it goes a long way.
It does. It really does. It's kept the
Zero,
lights
this
on.
is the Low Life Podcast. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Well,
talking American dollars.
Maybe we can get some of that Hawk Tula coin.
What are we looking at there? About 2 cents per coin, if that? Yeah.
yeah.
I think if you hold them, then you have to pay a person cash on top of the coin.
Yeah.
Unload it at this point. Anywho, let's see what else we got that's fun. There's a Discord where we hang out and talk about things. And let's see what
Link
else.
will be in the description.
Yeah, and if you go to Mixlr/Mood Blender, I think you'll find my bullshit where I DJ for 3 hours at a time, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on the amount of inebriance I am on. Yeah, you could usually tell the moment when the beer kicks in. It's usually pretty obvious. It's a huge genre shift. It's like, we're doing this now. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 90s electronic.
If you see the words "buckle up" in the chat, shit's about to go down.
Oh boy, I hope you guys like country music because you just listen to like 2 hours of it before.
I was just about the joke where it goes from like 90s like dance music to like kazoos.
Oh yeah,
you know,
with a breakbeat. It's weird.
As we're recording this, before I'm actually playing it, I'm thinking of doing like a little bit of house music and then just switching into like Willie Nelson. I think it'll fit. I mean, if I play country, it's going to be
get some weights in there.
It's going to be like real country, not the stadium bullshit.
No, unless it's done ironically and at half speed. You might hear like tears in my beer at like, and that'll be great. That'll be fun.
Hey, Dolly Parton went pretty hard too. So
yeah, for sure. Orville Peck has that great song with Willie Nelson.
Keep my country satanic. Hank the Third for me.
Hank the Third's great. Yeah, no. Oh God, what was that? Hang on, let me look this up. It just dropped a little while ago. It is on the Stampede EP. Orville Peck did a song with Willie Nelson called "Cowboys Are Frequently Secretly Fond of Each Other." Fucking killer song.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's very funny. Very funny. Anyway, and all of this matters because what we are talking about today, finally, after threatening the guys since we started this, before we started this podcast, we are talking about the Wild Bunch.
And so, like, right out of the gate here, I want to push back on you a little bit here. I think a lot of us have been thinking this, but sometimes I wonder, when you give us this dinosaur media, I like to call it impression vision, because when it's the switch from, the film to digital, it's still blurry no matter how good you switch it. But, this one in particular, what do we got to look forward to? There's it's like the only viable family model is the heteronormative one. And on that point, like, where's the first mom and dad anyway? You know what I mean? Like, they never talk about that. And they literally go and jump the shark when the family goes to Hawaii for a little Orientalism in the face of Greg finds some kind of cursed tiki idol.
You watched
jump the shark.
You watched the Brady Bunch. You watched the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a quick 45-minute break. I'll be right back.
That won't be long enough.
Actually, I can crush that down with the double speed.
Yeah, it was really weird when Brady Sr. got on the machine gun.
And then Gilligan and the professor showed up and just went off the rails after that.
Marsha and Jan
was there.
On this crew serve weapon.
When Jan kept shouting "Marsha, Marsha, Marsha" while fanning the hammer of her revolver.
I want to talk about this movie. God damn it!
Hell yeah! Oh god, yes. So, all right. Basically, the gist of this is because we're not going to. Why would we do a play-by-play? It would just ruin things. We're going to spoil the film, though. However,
spoil the fuck out of this film.
Oh yeah,
you don't understand. This movie's stitched into my soul. I took no note.
It is meant to be experienced. Mm-hmm. That is what this movie is. You have to watch it. You can't just
And it's like one of these movies where you don't even really have to be in the mood for a fucking Western, because this is kind of transcending it a bit. It's doing something beyond Westerns.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this is a noir Western is what it is.
Well, I think it's really neat you pointed out
as fuck
the other day that when we were talking about this, between this and Blazing Saddles, it debunks the myth of the Western.
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles does it with focus on self-effacing comedy. This just goes over the top with the gore and the violence. Like, it really for its time.
Man.
Like, John Woo definitely takes a note from a lot of this film.
Because that's the thing, I don't really because I was always kind of leery about doing a Western film because I'm not a big Western guy. My touchdones for Westerns would be the two Red Dead Redemption games. Good writing. Go play them.
And
the film
it's great. It is great that you mentioned Red Dead Redemption, though, because that's what this movie fucking is.
Well, that's why I'm like, okay, because the only other film I can think of for like westerns are like movie Dead Man and samurai films, which were all just westerns. And I'm like, all right, and this thing like basically demolishes that. I could see where a lot of the ideas for the 2 Red Dead games came from, but it's like when it comes to when it comes to samurai films, I'm like, oh, okay, like this is it. This is the end of the cowboy, like, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and this is one of those movies that after you watch it and you go play Red Dead Redemption, you turn into the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him pointing at the TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you start getting some of the shit that you didn't get before. You didn't even know it was a reference to something. Yeah.
It's like if you saw Nope and recognized the Akira slide, multiply that by like 100. And that's this film to Red Dead. Because there's
Red Dead, in a lot of ways, actually kind of feels like a remix.
It absolutely is.
It's many.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into it, but like Red Dead does have train robberies, but not like this fucking cool.
Down to the costuming, because there's a couple of the bandits that they literally lifted the costuming right out of this into Red Dead, like John Marston
100%.
in particular.
100%. 100%. I mean, and basically, so the shortest possible version of describing this movie in its entirety is...
Go ahead.
In one of the most chaotic opening scenes in cinematic history, you have this band of outlaws basically ride into town, but they're dressed as kind of, soldiers.
Yeah.
And then they're also being followed by a group of headhunters, led by a guy who used to be in the gang. And funding them is this piece of shit railroad guy.
Yeah.
Because
the nice thing about it is like
ready to get him.
He's explained that to you, but you don't know anything that's going on. It's just some army dude.
Oh yeah, I was super confused the first time I watched it.
And like it gets obvious that there's like some guys trying to get the jump on him. There's like an ambush set up, but they don't know that, and you don't know what's going on either. It's pretty chaotic.
Right.
But there's some
they look like soldiers.
Really great imagery in the beginning where
they're
the
tipping
kids
their hat and they're being cool to people and waving and helping out and stuff. Like.
The kids they pass by are like playing some kind of sadistic game with fire ants and scorpions, and it gets
those are the town psychopaths.
Very prophetic.
No, they're just kids.
They're kids.
Early 20th
wait, no,
century.
that's the same.
Anyway, exactly. No. See, here, I'm trying to avoid this. These guys they're there to rob a bank. It goes sideways. They think they get away with the money, and they leave a guy behind. And they head back, and it turns out all they got were washers.
So it was really chaotic. Did they only leave one guy behind? I wasn't sure about that.
Because
everyone else died.
Fuck.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 of them that were.
Yeah, I don't think they realized what was going on.
They were cutting him free.
Yeah. So they
get. Then, like the bad part about.
I'm going to delineate this real fast, real fast, because we're going to. Otherwise, we're going to do a play-by-play, and it's going to be a 17-hour fucking.
We'll get into it, as we always say. We'll get into it.
But basically, the gist of it is these guys get back to camp. They realize they've been fucked. All they have are these like steel washers. They need money, and through happenstance and a bunch of things that I'm not going to get into, they end up having to go rob a train in order to get armaments from the army. In one of the greatest scenes, period. I just fucking love this sequence. They fucking pull it off. Okay, spoilers. And they agree to give the armaments to this Mexican general, this guy Mapache, who's a total piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And it's a magnificently shitty human being. He's so fucking
actor.
good. He's so fucking good. Yeah. And basically, though, one of their gang, this fellow Angel, he wants to give like one of the crates of rifles to like his village, his town, and
the freedom fighters, like the mountain.
This is during the Spanish Civil War, by the way, 1913.
Okay, yeah, 13, 14, depending on it's pretty
Spanish American War, Spanish American Spanish Civil War is different, much
way different.
Pancho Villa is like kicking ass, and and it's really funny that they got Emilio Fernandez to play this piece of shit, because pretty sure he's played Pancho Villa. Like he's like he's a writer, he's an actor, he's a director.
Oh yeah, no, the cast is fantastic. We'll get into it. Anyway, so Mapache finds out that they kind of like they were like, hey, one of the crates fell, and Mapache's like bullshit, and they take Angel hostage, and like. Basically, Dutch has to leave him there. Ernest Borgnine has to leave him there. Goes back, convinces the rest of the guys, hey, we got paid and everything, but let's we got to get Angel back. Like, there's no fucking way. And then they do, and then we'll get to it. Okay, and then the movie ends. Okay, listen to me. I just saved you guys a lot of this is the progress, like the order of things. You know, like that's how it's going to go down for the most part. Definitely fucking watch this movie because it's long. It's 220,
something like that. Yeah, 220.
Yeah, but a lot happens, and it's it is complete. There's like 3 acts. They're very clearly there's the opening, bit with the bank robbery. There's the train robbery, and then there's
the last thing.
The last thing.
The end of the Wild West.
Yeah, it's nicely cut up into a couple. Nicely split up into a couple chunks.
Yeah. And it is atmospheric. It takes a second. It gives you reactions and stuff like that. And it's not doing your typical cowboy shit, which is these guys are not heroes. They're pieces of shit. These guys are all fucking murderers.
None of them have any redeeming qualities. To be honest, aside from the loyalty they display to each other, there's really not a lot.
Yeah,
going for them.
William Pike Bishop is the leader. William Holden. His best friend is Dutch Engstrom, who's played by Ernest Borgnine, who fucking rules.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, okay, up until now, most of my experience with Ernest Borgnine has been
Airwolf.
Comedic, McHale's Navy, a little bit of comic relief in Escape from New York. To see him at that same smile and those eyes, but as a sociopath.
Oh my God! Right?
He plays a real good sociopath.
Oh man, just that look, guys.
Just vacant stare.
Yeah.
Oh. And then he smiles, and
another one who, throughout this whole movie, there's an awful lot. We mentioned it before. There's an awful lot of tooth acting, and he's definitely up there with the best of the tooth acting.
Yeah.
It's just,
oh my God, him and Freddie Sykes, Edmund O'Brien.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of smiling.
Shit. A lot of smiling with people who shouldn't be.
Yeah, a lot of snarling. There's a character who basically was born from a spittoon.
Yes. His beard was
they just soaked it.
He just sweats tobacco,
a reservoir.
3 hours of makeup for this actor.
Yeah.
3 hours of makeup. It's not as bad as Lord of the Rings, but
it literally looks like they found the craziest fucking hobo left.
Yeah.
Just threw him in the movie.
It's Texas. It's not that hard.
No, these are LA guys.
We're talking about the old fella, the one that's You keep telling me he's not a Quaid, but I don't believe you. He's Quaid antecedent.
I've seen makeup. I saw The Substance, but I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, I thought that makeup was real. That's amazing.
Yeah. They made it. He said he was in makeup for 3 hours to look 30 years older.
Jesus.
It killed it. He fucking killed it.
Way fucking better than Guy Pearce and Prometheus, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. That's a whole nother episode that I don't want to ever record. I never want to record.
That's the episode that we're going to be recording in hell over and over again.
That'll be the only thing I put behind a paywall, and that paywall will be $48,000.
His character is worth. Hard fucking core too. That was what I was saying earlier. You find out the guy they left behind who was a psychopath that shot a bunch of hostages, but
he makes them sane. Yeah. He's a goofball, man.
You find out later it's his grandson. He's like, hey, did my grandson do okay back there? And he didn't even know. He's like, oh, I forgot about him. Yeah.
His grandson was dumb and
Why didn't you tell me?
Yes. His that whole exchange between Freddie and Pike is just Pike's reaction to oh fuck.
Yeah.
His entire exchange there is perfect. It
kind of seems like he didn't even remember him until that second.
Yeah.
Right. No, he didn't. Well, he knew the name, but he didn't put it together.
Well, they just leave his ass there because I don't even know if he knew what was happening.
No,
because he's
he's a piece of shit. Yeah. But he absolutely has one of the best lines in the movie where the cops bust in or whatever, and they shoot him, and he's like, "You can kiss my sister's black cat's ass." That is so fucking what? Cowboy.
Oh man,
god damn, man.
I mean, that's the whole movie in one moment because it's the film's establishing. And why are we talking about a cowboy movie in a cyberpunk podcast?
Yes.
It's the essence of you have to understand, by 1913, like there is no Wild West. Like
this is the end.
Yeah, this is the end.
Technology is creeping in. Motor cars, telegraph.
Yeah, because so like this dumb, violent young asshole is basically like he's the end of it. Like there is no room for poor, crazy pieces of shit anymore to like do as you wish. It's the law has basically stamped it out via technology and genocide.
And then or mercenaries.
Or mercenaries. My God, these fucking guys are I've used the word ghoul a lot during this podcast, and it's usually to talk about rich business people. These guys, I'm using ghoul to the fullest extent of the meaning of the word.
A bunch of
guys. There's pictures next to the description.
These guys are
the railroad company.
Yeah, they work for the railroad company, but they're like literally like they're stripping corpses the moment they died.
Yeah. Everybody else is like, and to be clear about the opening scene, it's incredibly violent. Bullets are flying everywhere, and just random bystanders are getting. And it's
the temperance.
They set. Oh man, the way that they set it up. The way that they set it up is beautiful because it's just like all these. Like the second time watching it, I was like, all these horrifying things are falling into place. There's a fucking parade going through town, and then that's the moment that they decide to like break out because they know that's when the Wild Bunch decides to get out of the bank because they know that it's an ambush.
It's almost like the end of Heat, but at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And
the way they do this, and also we're going to talk about like the actual filmmaking for a second here too. The way they do this is they have a bank guy and they push him out, and all the fucking dudes pop out and they fucking shoot him. He's a bank employee, and they shoot him thinking he's one of the guys trying to make a run for it.
They're not cops; they're mercenaries. They're literally they're mercenaries. They're disgusting. Like
they're security contractors.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
they're one step below a Pinkerton.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wild and
you do see Pinkertons in this movie too.
There's no evidence that two of them are not cannibals. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
TC and what was the other guy's name?
Coffer.
Yeah.
Coffer is played by
fucking Strother Martin.
Yeah, Strother Martin, one of the consummate character actors of that era. I mean,
top tier, and I didn't recognize him.
Yeah,
that's the craziest thing. Like you won't. LQ Jones plays TC, and these two guys beforehand, like during the filming.
Well, it's like you said, the cowboys are sometimes secretly fond of each other. So.
Yeah, and that's their thing. Like they said that like, hey, maybe they're like a little bit gay, out on they're out and lonely, etc. And they took it to Peckinpah, and crazily enough, Peckinpah must have just like ripped a huge fucking line and be like, "That sounds great," and just ran with it.
It comes across,
because the way they play it's very tender. At one point, Coffer is like screaming.
Yeah, they're stripping corpses, and he's like, I killed this guy.
This one.
Yeah.
He calls him a liar, and then he calls him a black liar.
And they have like a minute where they're like, you think they're going to cut each other's throats, but
no, it's just.
And he says to him, he just says to him, he's like, you shouldn't talk to me like that. And he's like really tender about it. And the other guy feels bad, and he's like,
you can watch his face fall.
Yeah,
I want that story. The gay cannibals. Oh,
it's such it's a really interesting moment that like this film is complex. Like you're going to root for people, and they might be pieces, but they're all pieces of shit.
Yeah. They're all human. That's what I always like in a movie where if you are going to depict like where there's very few good people in a film, and we've covered films where everyone is basically a bastard.
Yeah.
You have to do it in a way where it does humanize them. Like you can't be like you can't be cut like over the top with everyone. There has to be sympathy in the good and the bad guys, and you kind of like these weird vulture men.
Everybody except for the railroad dude. That guy,
except the railroad
fucking
dude,
asshole.
If there is a dedicated villain, it's the corporate guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you even kind of identify a little bit with the turncoat. The guy who was in the gang, but now he's leading the.
Definitely.
Deke, I mean, that's again another story from the Old West. Best story arcs in this entire movie.
Yeah, he really does.
He's so complicated. They show a little bit of the backstory, like going through it and his relationship with Pike, and they were best friends. Yeah. But he got caught. And Deke still respects them. He brings it up a lot. He's like, yo, man, he's better than me. He got away, and all this other shit. It's really interesting how it's not.
I feel like I've seen that dynamic before.
Like there's true respect being shown here.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
very it's not like they betrayed him or anything.
No, he didn't.
Like
but
they sent him off to Yuma, and if you know Westerns, Yuma's not a place you want to go. That's
it ain't great.
Bad prison.
But there's this whole thing about how, is he trying to catch them or is he trying to get back to the gang?
Yeah.
And
that's probably, I mean,
it's not obvious.
It's meant to be.
Take a while to make you wonder about it. Like, maybe he's jealous, and then they show what happened, and you're like, oh, he's not jealous. He's trying to get fucking back. Like, it's tight. Yeah, it's really
the whole time the railroad corp guy is like riding him, but meantime none of the mercs like respect him, and he doesn't trust the mercs, and he has to watch his back the whole time. It's just
calls them gutter trash.
Anxiety producing
to their face.
Yeah.
He does not like these fuckers at all. He doesn't give a shit about them. He just almost none of his strategies involve maneuvers with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just kind of there, and he's the guy dealing with the money, so they kind of don't fuck with him that much. But it's a very interesting dynamic. And they're pissed because hey, the Wild Bunch gets away, but this is the first moment where they really humanize the guys because they realize they have nothing but these fucking washers.
Yeah.
And
Silver. Well,
one of
look
the
at here,
Gorge brothers is
rings.
pissed off at Angel and they pull guns on each other and there's this real tension in this moment. And then eventually it's cracked with a joke and then they start laughing their asses off about it.
So,
and you understand the kind of friendship and the mutual respect and this only works. Because Pike throughout the movies, look, I'll end this fucking shit. I'm just doing this.
I kind of felt it too because they fucked up that heist so they got so spectacularly. It's kind of like, well, what else can we do but laugh?
Yeah, they lost 3 dudes in that.
One of which Pike had to kill himself.
Yeah. It's
that guy got shot.
It's hard. A lot of this stuff is actually kind of hard to watch, and the thing is, it's because it's immersive. It's not because. It's not because it looks real. A lot of it doesn't really look that real sometimes. But it's filmed in such a way that it draws you in and it makes you think that it's that it could be real.
You're right there with the characters. It's in the editing.
Yeah.
Well,
you feel like you're on a horseback,
The guy they shoot falls off a horse because he took a shotgun to the face. You never really get a clear shot of it, but you can tell their skin just hanging off.
Yeah.
And at first he's like, I can ride, and then he's like, oh, I can't ride. Just end it. And
I can't even see.
Pike shoots him. Yeah.
These guys are animals.
And then they have a conversation about this where they're like, well, they don't say anything, but then they're like, so what? Do you want to bury him? Do you want to have a nice Catholic funeral? Do you want to sing it? And Gurus Borgnine turns into a lunatic in this moment. Do you want us to sing and we'll have some have a cookout?
That's like the duality of being a person and being these fucking outlaw cowboy pieces of shit.
Yeah, because they have to go.
Yeah, they need to. They're criminals. It's we need to leave. We are being followed.
Yeah, the boss is on our tail.
Yeah, they're bastards. But okay, well, this is the game they're playing. They have to go. You feel that. They do a good job of kind of allowing you to ride along with them.
Yeah.
You understand their motivations. You know why they got to get. And I mean, there's that bit. Okay, wait, where are we at?
I want to go back to the kids in the prior and after the bank robbery. So there are these kids who are standing over ants swarming on a couple of scorpions.
Yeah, they're playing with the ants and the scorpion. They're
they're just fucking around with it.
There's a little wooden palisade they've got built around it so they won't they've done this before. This is clearly a game.
They don't have they don't have a switch.
Yeah, they put straw on it and then light a fire. And
this is what you did in the early 20th century. The whole movie is just with the kids playing with that because it's
Well, it's interesting to me. This is why I think that they're psychopaths because the whole shootout happens.
Here's a fun fact about that though. That wasn't in the script.
Oh.
There's a few things in this movie that were not in the script and Peckinpah just whipped up in the moment. And there was someone God, it's in that. There's this documentary that from 1996 called the Sam Peckinpah something montage in images or some shit. It's like a really generic title, but it was like, I think it won an Oscar, and it's good. It's about a half hour long. It's talking about some of the behind the scenes shit. And this one was, I want to say it was someone in the town that they were filming in came up and told them the story about how, like, there were these kids when we were kids, we used to just like get, ants and like, and immediately Peckinpah's on the phone. He's like, I need scorpions. I need ants. And they slapped this together, and I really
appreciate his creative process.
He's insane, dude.
Yeah, that interview. God, that interview is so good. Okay.
Wait, we'll talk about it later. No, hold on. Let's talk about this interview for a second.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh, I loved it. Yeah. My new favorite person.
Did you guys all happen to see it?
No, I didn't watch it. So.
Oh my God, you're
missing out.
Treat. It is a treat. It is not a boring interview at all.
No, it's like 15 minutes long.
He has a fucking fifth of scotch or whiskey or some shit.
Yeah, he's got coffee. He's
making Irish coffee. Basically.
At one point, he's like, "Hey, this coffee's really good," and I didn't notice that he had a whole fucking bottle of whiskey next to him. He just starts pouring it in, and I'm just like, he's smoking a cigarette the whole time. It's the greatest, but that's not the best part. The best part is at one point. All right, guys, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how violent is this movie? Like an 11.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot of violence.
I've seen more violent movies, but those were violent movies for the sake of being violent movies.
Yeah. It was violence for entertainment. This is not entertaining violence.
No.
Well,
this is horrible.
Part of the whole background on this is Peckinpah.
Hold on.
Bump the brakes.
Slow down, bud. It's okay. I know.
I'm done.
Yo, you're good.
But no, part of the whole background on this is Peckinpah wanted to show what it was like to actually get shot.
Yeah.
Which in Western movies before that, they never did.
Yeah.
No, they'd put their hand over their chest and roll over.
Yeah.
And granted, the movie,
scream.
The blood in this movie is red. It's like
it's like neon red.
It's very, very red.
It's just there's a lot of it.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I think back to the Japanese films, samurai films, where there's like all the blood. By accident, because there was one film where they overdid the pressure hose.
It was a Kurosawa movie.
Yep.
It changed everything.
So
Tanjiro.
Have you ever watched a violent anime? That's where that's from.
Yeah, so it's just funny that like that's where in this film they are trying to depict like someone actually getting like got, and in samurai films it's like overdone to the point of like being incredible.
Yeah, and they considered this to be ballet. Like what they were trying to do here was very much how, like, say John Woo did his violence.
Yeah.
There's even in like Hard Boiled, you can tell. Like,
and just look at all the gun fu movies that exist.
Everything that's happened since then, just The Matrix, even.
It makes violence really pretty.
Well, that's the problem.
Really
in this interview, this British interviewer is asking him. He's like, "No,
this is like 80 something.
It's like 76."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, that would make more sense.
He said the next movie he wants to make is Convoy, and that's like 82 or something like that. But anyway, he's in the cocaine here. Like, this is so. The guy, he says, like when you made the Wild Bunch, you were trying to kind of like point out that like violence is just disgusting, and like this is what looked like. And Peckinpah immediately is just like, I failed. He's like, everybody thinks it's awesome, and it wasn't what I was trying to do with this.
Yeah, like we were even talking about it before we started recording, of how Tarantino definitely saw this film, and like there's so
he's
much.
He's called it out. He has opinions about Peckinpah.
Like
all those film school nerds.
Like Tarantino alone is like violence as a spectacle, to the point where
dude, he shouted out turkey shoot in like 2003. So take that at whatever.
God, I can't wait till like it's 2026. Everything's on fire, and you just mentioned like turkey shoot just pops up in my brain, and I'm like, no matter how bad things will be, I'll just still think like, holy shit, there was a fucking Sasquatch in that film. Anyway,
at 32 minutes and 38 seconds.
Just when you had grown comfortable with the film.
Yeah.
It's
just like, oh wow, this is awful. Sasquatch in a top hat. It's
talking
fantastic.
about violence as a spectacle. Yeah, it's unfortunate because like I respect what he was trying to do, and I know other films later would accomplish it to like show violence as not something cool or fun.
I mean, this isn't even
Also,
like
it's 1969. The 70s are going to happen. Oh boy, violence.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely kicked the door open for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't a thing. Like even his own movies weren't like this violent.
Yeah.
He was definitely making a statement about that. Unfortunately, for everyone who's tried to mimic this, he wrote a good story.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it's not violent for its own sake.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah. But it's like when it's time for it, he leans into it.
Yeah.
I mean, he leans all the way into it.
Oh yeah. Like, God, man, yeah. Just the opening scene alone is like, it's hard to watch because it's just like random people getting shot everywhere.
Yeah.
And also he's doing this amazing editing thing where he's cutting between 3 different events, and you will catch the same amount of time in each of them, and he'll cut back to the first one, and you'll see a guy falling. He's shot and he's falling off of the second story of a building. And as he's falling, there's like a woman who's gotten shot, and she's like falling off a horse or something. You know what I mean? There's like all 3 of these things are happening, and they all hit the ground at the same time.
Yeah.
But he's showing them to you in like 9 parts.
It's like hard to do now to do that, where it's
He has
so
like
much
3,000 fucking edits in it.
Yeah.
It's
a little hard to
crazy.
follow. It is. You will not absorb everything on your first watch.
Since you brought it up, I feel it would be remiss not to mention that the only thing treated worse than the horses in this movie are the women.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that when we get to
we can talk about that now. Here's the thing about this movie. So
there really aren't any women.
Yeah.
They're all just kind of caricatures.
Yeah.
They really are. They're none. There's not like this is not a diverse film.
No.
In a modern sense. This is definitely a product of its time, but it's also it's a misogynist movie, kind of. It's definitely not showing these guys in any kind of heroic light.
No, even for the time. Even for the time, I think if you were watching this and everyone's like, oh, they killed a woman, oh, that's no big deal. Even the outlaws are like, haha, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
No, we'll get to that scene. Yeah, we'll get to that scene. But the thing about this is that unlike, again, people who half watch movies and then try to do the thing, don't pick up on the fact that these guys aren't cool.
Yeah.
No. Like anytime they're hanging out in town, they're trying to like kind of whore it up and drink wine.
Yeah, and there is
really
nudity.
Don't have much to do. Yeah,
a little bit, but like it's the matter of like this is like their entire lives is just drinking. Like especially the 2, were they brothers?
Yeah,
the
brothers.
Yeah, the brothers. Yeah. Like their sole motivation in life is money, drinks, and whores, and that's about it. And every time, they go somewhere, they like want to fuck.
You see this happen a couple of times. Like the one time is actually really funny when
and not cool about it either.
No, well, the one time I think they're kind of funny because they're shooting at the big wine barrel.
Oh yeah, bathing in a wine cask looks fun as fuck.
Yeah, bathing in a wine cask was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
One time I did think these guys are having a fun time.
Oh yeah, like a hot tub. That scene too. I was just like, holy crap,
gentlemen! I want to introduce you to my fiance.
But there's a great moment, like the 3rd time it happens. It's over.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, that was
no. I mean, it's not that it's like graphic or violent. It's all
they're just dicks, and it is over.
Really seedy.
Well, I mean, the 3rd time, they go through that, but you can tell they're kind of half into it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about the greatest "Let's Go" in cinema later.
Yeah.
But that's the moment. That's when they're like, I've had all the wine and the whores. Like that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And they have to go do the thing.
It's one of the biggest moments of character development for them in the whole movie, honestly. It's a little weird because they're like, they see that their friend's captured and he's being tortured. And like the dude's like, why don't you guys go have fun with some of our teenage sex workers?
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll go have some fun over there. And then they're just like,
Yeah.
The wine has no more taste, The food has ash in my mouth. Let's go get revenge.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Like,
and it's weird too. Like attitudinally, they kind of change at the very beginning. They're very like, "Hey, fuck the new guy. Like, we want a bigger cut," kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that slowly kind of goes away, and they kind of like ingratiate themselves. Like when we get to the train robbery sequence, they're awesome in it.
Yeah.
They are absolute fucking professionals.
They're commandos.
And at the end too, at the very end,
they're G's.
Yeah.
Terminators.
I mean, it's fucking nuts.
Let's talk about Angel. Then I want to talk about that one scene, the extremely misogynistic scene. But Angel is played by Jamie Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
So what if a Puerto Rican was Mexican?
Mm-hmm.
It's 1969. It happens.
What are you talking about?
He wasn't Italian. Come on.
Oh, thank God he wasn't.
True.
Italian.
You know, it's better than Touch of Evil. Let's be real.
Well, he's a great actor.
What's better than Short Circuit?
He's the one slightly
It's better than Short Circuit.
slightly most redeeming character, except that he flat out murders a woman.
He murders Angel. Okay, he does get his comeuppance, so that's where I feel like his death,
we're going to keep
a
bringing up the fact that no one in this movie is like heroic.
No, because even Angel, who I like, is still an asshole. Because literally, his sole motivation. Okay, they schmooze. This is how they schmooze themselves with the Mexican military. Is that they're there? We're like, okay, we're here. We're gonna have drinks.
Wait, no. Let's back up a moment.
Okay,
At one point, they go back to Angel's village.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is an incredible sequence of them just kind of hanging out. Yeah. And
it's a warm and friendly place, and it's fun. That
this is the paradise that they know they can never have.
Is this where it's like they're in the sweatiest sweat room that ever sweated?
Yeah.
The whole scene where they're like half naked and sweating all over each other,
splashing each other. It's like fun. Everything's light.
Oh no, that's
a movie where everybody's pretty goddamn sweaty.
Yeah.
This is like the sweatiest scene.
That's later in the mansion.
But that's right. But there's this moment here where Angel finds out what happened. He's having it explained to him that the love of his life not just left with much Mapache, but left laughing freely.
Yeah,
she wanted to ditch the village.
Yeah, his dad was killed. Like they killed his dad. Like his family's been broken up. The woman he loves got with a dictator. Mapache is basically like he's many Mexican dictators throughout history, but like he's a huge character piece of shit, played by an incredible actor.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, she willingly went to this asshole for like the chance of a better life, where it's like I'll sleep with this fucking disgusting dude for like a better life. Like
not a lot of options in the Pueblo,
No
options.
Yeah. So they go there. They go to like his fortress. And it's always a party. Always a party with this guy.
Yeah, this general is never sober.
No. I wouldn't be. Fuck it.
No one is. Everyone's sweaty and hammered.
Yes.
Because why would you want to be sober here? Why would you want to be sober?
Also, not as racist as other Westerns that came before because they actually used real Mexicans and not Italians.
Yes. They hired an entire, I think, regiment of the Mexican army.
Yeah, the actual Mexican army. Which is
they're all of the extras in the porch.
And all those little lieutenants are like choice. Just choice.
Huge, weird.
The guy with the goggles, the guy with the long hair, looks like Sam Raimi.
Yeah, and Emilio Fernandez is just like getting drunk and whoring, like I'm top shit. And Angel's girlfriend is there, and it basically tells ex-girlfriend. She basically tells him to fuck off. I'm doing this, He calls.
She goes up and sits with him, and they sit down at the table.
And Angel's like "Puta," and then pulls his gun. I don't.
She sits on his lap.
Yeah.
This is also, to me, I don't know. I watched it again. Like I couldn't pay attention to the first half the first time I watched it, so I watched the first half right before this, and it's just like there's a moment where you see emotion on her face, like you see.
She's a good actress.
Yeah. She gets a lot of acting in just on close-ups of her
because
face.
It's clear that she still cares about Angel in some way, but
she wishes. She wishes he could understand, but he's just a psychopath.
Yes, he is a well-meaning psycho. I'm still unclear who he was
guy. Well, no, he was aiming at her. He 100% was aiming
at her. He kidnapped the girl next to her.
You think he would just be riddled with bullets, but they're all like strangely cool with it when they see he just blew a hole in the woman's chest.
No, I mean, but I feel like
it's a single shot. It kills her. He's not surprised by the outcome. And everyone watching this film in this moment knows that those men at that table are dead. And yet, the movie does one of the first major rug pulls.
Oh, yeah, it's weird.
And it turns into business.
Yeah, because they're
Really
like,
cool.
oh, it's just he wasn't aiming for boss. He was aiming for he was aiming for her. He's only a woman, but and even the outlaws
made
are
him
like
a little crazy.
And
he says something like he used to love her, and they start laughing.
Yeah,
and even the outlaws are like,
everybody understands it.
But even the outlaws are like, that's weird, because literally later they're inside in the mansion with her body being, in tradition, like brought through the house and paraded around before taken to rest, and they're like his fucking lieutenant. One of his lieutenants literally has her blood on his uniform, and they're still like drinking wine like it never happened and getting hammered.
And they're pissed that like, hey, get her out of here. He's
pissed that they're taking too long for her funeral. Jesus Christ!
So what it is besides machismo, also they see advantage here because Angel whips out a 1911 automatic. And in 1913, that's still like a restricted item that's only supposed to be for the military. Mm-hmm. And one of the German observers who's with Mapache,
I forgot,
because German guys were all over Mexico at this time, like doing proxy wars. They see it and they're like, "Hey, let's talk to these guys." And then when they get to know, like, "Oh, you have access to this type of stuff, and there's this train," and that's how kind of they get the job. And it's like really the one of the cooler little bits of the movie.
World War I, it's going to be dope. Actually, no, they don't say that, but there's some Zimmerman telegram like conspiracy theorizing going on in this film. It's interesting. How it treats women isn't great, but there's a reason for it because the characters are misogynists. The film acknowledges that.
It's not.
It's not hidden.
No,
like, none of this stuff is like, these guys are good. No,
what bugs? What really bugs me is the fact that
it's supposed to make you feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, but that's the thing that bugs me, and I could see why he said I failed about a few things because while watching this, as I think I've said it for other films, I have a little Alex Jones in my shoulder, which he's the little fucker where I could like look through his perspective of a dumb asshole watching a movie and taking it all at face value. Like, these are the heroes, So it's like it's really hard to do a film like this because you're putting a lot in the audience to understand what you're trying to do when some people just want to see like heroes and bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And not understanding that everyone in this film except like one or two are the bad guys.
People can't help but see with that duality. No, I get that a lot.
It's just like you're getting kind of like layers of humanity, but like the average is under zero. And you're kind of every relationship. It's just kind of like based on severity of liking or disliking, or like how evil these people are, et cetera, et cetera. But they're all pretty bad.
Again, they are. Respect the reality. There's no white hats. This movie and look, we're talking Unforgiven as two of the ones where you're just like, damn, Cowboys weren't cool. Like bandits weren't cool.
This is probably like the first example of like a post-Western.
Sure,
Definitely takes a lot of notes from spaghetti westerns and then just turns the dial up on that.
Absolutely, because spaghetti westerns is where that really started, like the Man with No Name or the Dollars trilogy from Sergio Leone.
That's where the whole like the myth of the West was starting to be deconstructed.
Wasn't John Wayne like mad at this movie?
Oh, John Wayne hated this fucking movie.
Of course he did.
The funny thing is, John Wayne hated this fucking movie because it brought about the end of he literally said it destroys the myth of the West. The myth.
The myth?
Because
the
even John Wayne knew that that was bullshit.
Yeah.
His name was Marion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a boy named Sue situation.
But the thing is it didn't break him up too much because this movie was made in 1969. I think it was 1972 that he starred in a movie that was produced by his production company called Big Jake. And you can watch Big Jake and you would be totally forgiven for thinking that it was directed by Sam Peckinpah. Because everything is there, including the bright red blood.
Makes money, so that's what they went with.
Well, and keep in mind, this is the Duke. I mean, he shot a lot of people in his time, but you didn't see the back of anyone's head blown out. In Big Jake, there is a guy that carries a machete and he likes using it. And he uses it on women. He uses it on children. He uses it on anybody.
Jesus.
So this is the bad remake. This is the person who half watched like the Wild Bunch.
Big Jake actually isn't a bad Western so long as you don't mind John Wayne. It's got great characters in it. Bruce Cabot is awesome. Yeah. You got Bruce Cabot as a Native American. That's fucking awesome. He's a Frenchman.
Right. Yeah. Nailed it.
But I mean, the worst thing about the movie, and I do like the movie, but whenever I watch it, I skip like the first 10 minutes. But the reason for that is because leading up to what this movie too has an opening massacre.
Okay.
But before that, they introduce the cast of characters, literally with someone talking about them as they're riding up to this.
That's good pacing, right? That's good pacing right there.
Yeah. I mean,
that is some
very good.
They don't tell you who these characters are through the movie and through the characters. No, there's literally a fucking narrator.
That
incredible.
That
treats your audience like they're, I don't know.
It makes me think of the opening of the Wild Bunch and how Red Dead totally lifted the freeze frame. Like,
I was thinking about that actually.
Posterized kind of look.
The whole like monochrome kind of thing.
Yeah.
And honestly,
that also comes from like the opening of the spaghetti westerns too.
Spaghetti westerns too.
But
in the first
and the thing about that narrator is he never comes back. He's only in there for like the first 10 minutes, introduce the bad guys, and after that's done.
That's some fucking Blade Runner original cut shit right there.
And the first discussion that they have after the robbery, you get all of that in like 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Because that's good storytelling.
Relate to each other, like Ernest Borgnine's got his hand on his holster, like you can see that in all their eyes, and like that's everything you need to know. You don't need a voiceover, just fucking give them.
There's a character. I think the character's name is Trooper or something like that. It's kind of a generic name, but the narrator says that he's a back shooter and he's considered a coward. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Well, there is a scene during the massacre where
Dan,
one of the bandits shoots one of the people at this house. And it like spins him around and he shouts at the guy and the guy turns around on his horse and then shoots the other guy in the back. Okay, well, you didn't need to tell us. You just showed us. Why didn't you just do that?
He's a back shooter.
Such a flawed movie.
He's a back shooter. You should Google back shooter to find out what we're talking about.
He's rather fond of back shots.
The Oxford English Dictionary defines a back shooter.
Well, now we get to talk about pornography because John Wayne was the biggest pornographer in all of history. Because if we talk about pornography as a fantasy of something, right? Now that we get to live vicariously through someone else.
I'm squeezing this Western in here for the whole dynamic of the crew on their last,
and that's the thing here too.
But that's what this movie kind of demolishes because he was upset about the whole myth of the Wild West, which is just pornography, like male power fantasy bullshit. This
it's entertainment.
As entertainment. I'm like, hey, I read Conan the Barbarian novels. Like, I know what that is, but I'm acknowledging that this is junk food.
Yeah.
Westerns kind of ruined dudes for a long time. And I think they still does. But this movie kind of like, it takes that and kind of demolishes it in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was right. Because, of course he was fucking... because of course he was fucking right. Because it showed how brutal it is. Like, when young men go to war, Like, it's funny this takes place in 1913. World War I's going to be a hoot in the next year.
Right.
It's the same thing where it's like, well, no, this is violence. Like, this is where it all leads at the end. Which is funny.
That's the thing. They're never like living good. Only in the past. Like in the flashbacks, they're wearing suits and things are fine. But like nowadays, they're sleeping on their packs with like one eye open next to a fire. Yeah. Fucking homeboys making the worst. Making the worst coffee that may or may not be made with his own spittle.
He brewed the coffee in the spittoon.
It's so bonkers,
but man. The thing is there's still a little turning on the head of that because you've got Pike and Dutch talking to each other, and there's like this moment where it's like I wouldn't have this any other way, and then as Dutch turns over to go to Sue's like I wouldn't want it any other way either.
Yeah, they're in love.
It's like it's just one of those things. Like these two characters in this super violent Western are far more in touch with their feelings than any John Wayne movie.
Yeah,
and they have no idea how to live in any other way.
Yeah. They don't. What are they going to do? Get a job as a cook?
That's the thing. Is like the eldest one among them is their cook, and like later they talk about it too because they're like always talking about pulling weight and who's going to get a cut, and I think he says, he's done his fair share of killing and other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what's
What's that mean?
Which talking about there, Freddy?
Well, It's interesting.
He has all of his fingers. That's all I know.
It's interesting because you contrast like the places where these people go, where there are them talking about how they'd rather be outlaws than be a part of polite society, and then you see like different faces of what people are like. The different places that you go. Angel's Village is very warm and peaceful, and but then you go over to like Mapache's village, and it's just
raucous party.
It's a frat party.
Yeah, and it's in this like little dirt hole, basically. I mean,
well, it's funny too because how it ends is the two survivors, the old coot and what's his name,
Deke.
Deke. They joined Pancho Villa, which is like they even admit it's like, well, it's not quite the same as being an outlaw, but it's close, which is like joining a rebel movement. Like instead of just being like a piece of shit outlaw, it's like in a way it's a step up in the world.
And the Old West.
Like,
go ahead.
That's one of the things I was thinking before with that whole arc with Angel. It's like they're lucky. The gang is lucky that these guerrillas didn't cut all their throats in their sleep and take the whole wagon full of weapons. Angel just like bargained them for one case of guns.
What if Mexicans were ninjas? Which is
that's the funny thing. The only character that gets what he wants in this really is kind of Deke.
Yeah.
He basically has a redemption arc. Kinda.
At least they joined a good movement.
He also doesn't have like any agency.
Yeah,
he's pretty fucked throughout most of the film.
Yeah.
Like
he has to do this, or he's going back to jail.
Yes,
he's owned.
Yeah.
Is there anything that he like did that would kind of justify his redemption, quote unquote?
He wasn't as much of a bastard as the others.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything.
He didn't really. He
was doing his best to keep his gang at bay. It's like don't shoot. No. Keep your. Will you stop putting your fucking shotgun up? Don't shoot. Don't shoot the innocents.
His idiots are shooting at the like fucking army too.
They're maniacs.
Yeah,
fucking lunatics.
TC man.
I mean that one was kind of. That one was kind of on them because, like, they realized there's a robbery going on, and they just let the army guys like sleep while they run off after and like they don't know what's going on. The army guys are shooting them too. It's like a total close.
Yeah. We got
a lot of good options.
Yeah, we got to talk about the train.
Yeah. It's like right at the midway point of the movie, and this is where it starts to really pick up.
Commando shit right here.
Yeah,
this is beautiful.
I love that the security detail, and again, World War I's a year away.
Yeah,
and America's not going to enter the war immediately, but it's like these army guys, quote unquote, they're fucking like children.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me explain this for you. Okay, so you got a steam engine, but in front of it you have a flatbed with two kids sitting on like the corners with a rifle because this thing isn't going very fast. It has so you have the flatbed. You have the steam engine, you have the coal car, and then you have like this other flatbed that has all the guns on it. And then behind that is a carrier car, and half of them are Deke and the rest of the goofballs, and the other half of it are these children.
Yeah,
with this with a scout leader. That's how I just think of them.
Yeah, when you said scout leader, that's what got me because they're wearing the old timey army like uniform back in the day with the little hat. Yeah, and they're all like.
This one kid looks like
16,
he's 12.
Yeah, like they're children.
It's insane. And it's one of those things where you're just like, yeah, it was like that though.
Yeah.
In all fairness, before World War I, the army's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It's in comparison to like outlaws and like all this other shit. It's like yeah.
They were outclassed, and so what happens now is they're pulling in to get water for the tank, and
it's almost right out of Breaking Bad. Honestly,
you could drop this
right out of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, you could drop this into a cyberpunk game and just change it. Oh, it's not a train in the Wild West; it's a train out in the Barrens or something.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have to change anything.
The water,
fucking Angel.
The guy, the engineer, he pulls it down, and Angel is laying on like the chute with his shotgun. And he slides up and he smiles at him and tells him to get the fuck out of the way. And
that's great.
Just do your work.
That's what he says. He says, "Do your work." From that moment on, it's almost completely silent except for a couple of yelps, and it is batshit because
a lot of tooth acting.
Yeah,
a lot of
these guys are there's a tiny bridge. This is a perfect location, by the way, for all of this. And the guys drop out from under the trellis, and they're sneaking around in the whole 9 yards, and they're just taking dudes out one by one. And in one of the greatest like tension moments, Angel is trying to unhitch the flatbed with the guns from the carrier car, and he can't. And they need to back the train up.
It's overextended, so the bolt won't.
It's too tight.
Release,
right? So they back the train up, and there's like the tiniest bump, and now Deke's like, "The fuck." Angel gets that thing up, and they start chewing away.
Yeah,
they kick everybody off the train, and then like they're just having a good old time. They're on a fucking choo-choo going away, and Deke looks out the window and sees the train leaving, and it's amazing.
These two soldiers being held up at like these two kids being held up at gunpoint by one of the brothers with a shotgun, and they're just going.
Yeah,
and eventually he kills them.
Oh, for sure. But like, there's. What's funny is that like Deke and all the guys they go to the car. I'm sorry, there's a car behind them that has the horses, and they get the ramp down. They get their horses out, and they start chasing after the train.
Clusterfuck.
Inside, the soldiers are like the kids are the shit. Everybody's asleep.
Yeah, they're like their lieutenants asleep or what the fuck ever.
And they're like slightly waking up, and then finally he like looks and sees what's going on. He sees the train leaving. He's like, "Oh fuck!" But he doesn't get like it's beautiful. It's a beautiful moment.
The look on Robert Ryan's face, who plays Deke Thornton, when he sees the train going up, is perfect because he just like, that track.
Yeah, this makes sense.
I figured that was going to happen. All right, let's go get the horses. Come on.
It's so he's so good. But so they get out there. There's fucking the coot is waiting with a what do you call it, a wagon?
Yeah.
They unload all the guns and everything onto the wagon. He takes off. And they send the train back.
Well, it wasn't theirs. They were just returning it.
I love this so much.
It's amazing.
Because it's such a fuck you is what it is.
There's a beautiful moment where you're just like, oh, and then you see the progress of the kids trying to get the fucking horses out. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah. They're not doing it.
Really.
Deke and them, they get off the tracks, okay? They're good bad guys, I guess, by the scale of this movie.
They're competent.
They just killed 2, 3 recruits.
Yeah.
Because they did try and draw guns on them about the time they got here.
Maybe
4,
yeah. They totally lighten their passenger load. They send the train back. It hits these. You get the shot from inside the carriage, the boxcar, and you just see the fucking horses go down. And I'm like,
this is
shit!
The first scene where I got an inkling that there's probably a non-zero number of horses that were killed in the film.
Animals were harmed during the making of this film.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no way they weren't.
I mean, this is the same director that would bury chickens up to their necks and
blow their heads off with that babies.
Yeah, he's batshit. He was great. Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
Okay,
no, like the 80s, I think.
Thank
84.
God. No,
he made it to 84.
Wow, that's incredible for him. He's a maniac.
Oh my God.
He is. But
he's so insane. I love him so much, though.
His brutal honesty about everything. Like when he was talking about, I don't remember what film he was talking about, but it just wrapped. It was like in this was 76.
Bring me the head of Arturo. What the fuck? that was the one he had done.
Yeah, but oh man, he's like he. So the interviewer asks him like how filming went, and then he replies, "Great." And then the interviewer is like, "Are you sure? It seems like you're holding something back." And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, we only had like 3 suicides." And
fuck. Jesus,
he's an absolute lunatic. Yeah.
Oh man, and just the way that he answered to there was that one question that he was asked where he gave like this huge speech. I think it was about his like complicity in the increasing violence in movies. And then he asks, then the interviewer asks the next question, and he's like, I don't remember what it was, but his answer is just, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then just nothing.
Wow.
This you guys, you got to watch it. It's so fucking funny.
It's beautiful.
I'll post it as a link, in the Discord and probably on Blue Sky.
It's definitely a testament to like, they can't make this in Hollywood. It's like, well, yeah, because now we have like standards and unions and laws,
specific laws.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay writers.
You can't shut down a whole town and deny them electricity for 6 months.
Oh yeah, he did that. The fucking asshole.
He paid them, probably.
Paid them, no,
all right, probably. Yeah, I hope he did because.
Well, okay, so we have this exit. We got the dude with the wagon full of shit, and there's a bridge.
Yeah.
Wait, no, not yet, right? Did they wire the entire wagon with dynamite, and then they go, hey, we'll bring the shit to you. And,
they wire the wagon and they wire the bridge.
Because they can't trust Mapache either.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, Mad Max comes up and visits them with like the entire army standing on the cliffs around them and shit.
Yeah. They divide. Well, no, that happens after the bridge.
They
have to get. They have to get into Mexico.
They got to get to this point.
Yeah.
And this bridge is
because they're still being chased.
They're still being chased. Like the army's finally kind of sort of catching up with their kids, and they don't know how to go down a hill with them.
The mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the most slapstick part of this fucking movie.
They are. Yeah.
Well, until the end. Because it's like, what if Slapstick was angry? This bridge sequence. In the documentary that was on the DVD, they said that like they did a breakaway where when the bridge blew, like all the actors on horses and stuff, they would drop down instead of getting hurt or whatever. All the dynamite was beneath them. So this thing drops down and they hit the water and it says, and no one was harmed, but none of the stuntmen are horses. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure a couple horses fucking bought it.
No, I'm pretty sure some actors too. Like
I don't think any actors died necessarily.
Horses probably.
A couple horses for sure.
Definitely
almost everything they ate. They probably sourced that locally.
Fucking brutal. Like, because they destroy the bridge and they're on it. Like the actors, the horses, like the bridge does drop away like a trapdoor and just crumbles and they hit the water.
Back to Pike and the blast, like he has his hat off like he's going to see him off. His reaction shot is so good because he didn't know how fucking powerful the blast was going to be. He's not that close to it.
No, he's not. But his horse is spooked by it.
Oh, the horses were not good with guns often.
Yes. No, they're his reaction to like because like the oh shit face he makes, felt it looked pretty genuine.
He was like,
I'm glad they used that take.
Yeah, so did I, because he looks like those men are dead.
Yeah.
That's his face.
William Holden fears that he has just watched people die.
Yeah, they're not that fun. They're not close to the water. Like there was a drop. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no,
it's a 20-foot drop, and they had to dam the river.
Oh fuck!
Like
so it's not even
high enough.
Yeah. That sounds safe.
I mean, they had to do it like a week or two in advance too.
Wow. Like, they just fucked up Mexico, didn't they?
Just that little corner of it.
Wow.
I'm sure the Mexican government was like,
I bet you it's still stained red. Oh, you know that bit too when they leave the Angels Town?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're walking through,
that whole procession and like the town showing up and stuff like that was improvised. That was all like they didn't have that in the script either. They were like, "Here, let's go with this." And they had like the people playing the music. Almost all of the music in this movie is diegetic, which is so fucking nice.
Yeah, it's just like mariachi, all playing music.
There's somebody around.
Yeah,
there's a guitar around. And it's god damn. The texture of this movie is so fucking good.
I want to just say, like the use of natural lighting in this movie. There are some beautiful shots, and it's not involved with violence usually. Like there's oh man, it's a western. You got those sweeping vistas. And
shot like must have been a pain in the ass to shoot because you have to do it at the right time because again, it's all natural lighting.
Yeah,
there's
I don't know if it's all natural lighting. The indoor, like if
they had
indoors,
they had some big.
The indoors definitely.
They definitely had some big lights on set for stuff,
especially during when they're fighting Pancho Villa and they're just cannons going off. Like that's the scene that gets me too because we get to see how much of a dipshit this dude is, where it's just pandemonium. You know,
and he's just standing in the middle of it.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, dibs to you, but that's because he, as a leader, but also that just means he just thinks he's invincible. That's all that tells me.
Yeah.
He's not. We find out at the end.
Yeah.
But he just
hammered.
thinks he's hammered.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He's incredibly drunk.
Hammered. Because Pancho Villa had like cannons, and he would fire them from like the mountains and shit. We never meet Pancho, which it was unfortunate. I would have liked to have someone play him.
Well, I really loved having him as this like force outside.
Yeah, he is kind of depicted as more like a force in nature, you know, than anything else.
Bit of a boogeyman kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, he's very mythologized.
He's winning. He's definitely winning.
But they get across the bridge.
So you were talking about Mapache, right? With the machine gun.
Mapache, like in his forces, fighting Pancho Villa's forces.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an incredible scene. It reminded me, for some reason, you know that Russian movie of War and Peace, where it was just like the Soviets were basically like, because there was a French movie about A Tale of Two Cities, or was it Tale of Two Cities? No, it was War and Peace, and it was War and Peace, and the Soviets were because there was a French film based on the book, and they were like, nah, fuck you, that's ours, because it was a Russian novelist.
Yeah,
so they got like the entirety of the Soviet army to like recreate it, basically do it. And it's the greatest movie based on that book ever made. And for some reason that reminded me of it, just because they actually got the Mexican army in this movie.
Yeah.
Like not on the same scale. I don't think anyone could make a film.
No,
of that
like
scale,
I said, they only had like a regiment. I don't know what that means. It doesn't seem like it would be more.
It's
than
not a lot of guys, but you know what?
Consider
it's not a lot of guys, because remember at the final scene they had to recycle extras.
Recycle shirts.
Yeah, so but it's enough where it's like, all right,
guys, we keep teasing this final gunfight. We got to keep pushing.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Because like what happens is they get across this fucking bridge. Pike has that great reaction, and then boom, they scooch their way up to their meeting with Mapache's dude, who shows up with the goggles.
I tried to look up who that actor is, just so I can know if he's Italian or not, and I wasn't sure. I'm not sure who he is.
I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah. He's very animated, and like he brought a ton of these army guys with him.
Yeah,
they're surrounded.
Stupid amount.
Well, that was the entire idea. They were going to take the guns now and not pay for them.
Right. But the Wild Bunch, like I said, they wired the shit with dynamite, and then they light the fuse to let them know they mean fucking business. And then he finally cracks. Some guy fires off a fucking errant shot. One of Mapache's own men shoots that dude down for fucking
he tells him to.
Yeah. Which is hard as fuck, actually. Like that shit's cold, man.
There is so much coldness in this movie.
Oh,
there
is.
Like,
well, they're the forces of a dictator, so it's like, all right, that checks out. Everyone's kind of beaten.
So did Pike at the beginning with the dude that got blasted in the face. Like there's a lot of everybody in this movie. It's just hard life, on the frontier, what's left of it.
Yeah.
In the declining moments.
Yeah.
It's oof. But so they managed to pull it off. And then they split the shit up, they hide it. And the plan is they're going to bring it back to Mapache piece at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens? Pike goes first, right? And he basically brokers the deal, tells him what's up. And then he says something about Mapache hears that there's a machine gun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Pike this was a big surprise for them when they were unloading the wagon.
Yeah, it's a fucking, what is that?
I am mad they never use the wagon technical, okay? They find out, hey, what's this? I don't know, but we'll figure out how to use it. And then they turn their fucking horse-drawn wagon into a technical, and they never fire it from the wagon.
They mounted it on the wagon at one point, but I think the real missed opportunity was, Mapache's driving around in a Packard. They could have
Yeah.
It was stuck the Browning on the back of the Packard and just really dominated.
Oh, we get it. Honestly, the one scene with him and the fucking machine gun almost makes up for it, because
it's hilarious because he pulled. Oh, we'll get to that.
The
thing with Pike is he's like, we agreed to 16 boxes of guns and ammo. We didn't agree to a fucking machine gun. We'll give you that for free. Like it's a gift. And, that just makes, drunk ass Mapache just, oh yeah, you're my favorite guy. You're my favorite little guy, and when they finally bring him the machine gun, It's like him and two dudes trying to pick this extremely heavy weapon up and let him shoot it, where he just shoots up his entire area. Like,
here's the thing: this gun was invented, I think, because Zero, you told us, right? Like, it was invented in like 1880 something, right? I can't remember what year.
I thought you said 1911.
The gun's a Browning M1917.
Okay, so
but it's basically a take on the Maxim gun.
Yes.
Which was late 1800s.
Yes. Okay. So it's not like people wouldn't know the machine gun exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
However, I could definitely believe people not knowing how to use it, because
these people might
definitely. He's trying to pick it up and fire it like a fucking rifle. And
this motherfucker has like a Rolls Royce too.
Yeah.
And like,
the Packard. It's an old
Packard. Yeah. And the fucking German's like, you have to put it on a tripod, and they're like, what? And
he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he doesn't give a shit.
He does not give a shit.
It's like 180 belt fed fucking.
It's a killing machine. It's dangerous even by today's standards.
Yeah, you know how you see Stallone one-handing, like, like a. What the fuck is that? Like an M? What the fuck are those? 60? What the fuck?
Are those?
The M60s. Yeah, M60 in one arm.
Like one arm and that shit
wrapped around the other one.
Yeah, that ain't how it works. Like this is Mapache trying to do this is way more realistic. And
so you know how hot that thing gets? I think that thing was water cooled too. Like,
that big drum is full of water.
Yeah. And he's fucking handling it by there. Yeah, no, it's great. It's incredible. Like, no one died.
Yeah. I don't think anyone died. Maybe a cat exploded. I don't know.
Yeah,
like, it was. And it's really well done too.
It is,
because I'm thinking he's using blanks here. I don't know. It's Peckinpah. Like, when they shot the tank, that could have been live ammo. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know, man. Maybe the acting is coming from Apache acting like it's heavier than he can handle, so that he can like keep it up.
Well, Fernandez is definitely like
it was definitely a Chaplin moment there.
Fernandez is definitely channeling like comedy there. Like,
it's one of the other like kind of slapstick moments in this.
Kinda. I mean, it's a little horrifying at the same time.
Oh wow! Oh yeah!
It's presented hilariously, and it's
casual violence. That's what I wanted to say about these kids at the beginning of the movie. Because the gunfight happens, and then you cut back to these kids, and they're just like completely unfazed, and they go back to torturing ants and scorpions.
Yeah, that's the whole film, basically. Like, everyone, violence is kind of just an accepted, or it's going out of style, but it's still kind of among certain people an accepted reality.
Yeah. But, well, at the same time, though, it's the industrialization is making everything more violent in a lot of ways. I mean. You wouldn't have the final shootout without that.
They see the end. When you see the end, you fight like you've never fought before, And these, we might as well just kind of do it, right?
Yeah, let's get into it.
So Angel goes with Dutch to deliver, the last thing.
Yeah,
and they're one short because of the arrangement. Angel basically gives up his share of this payment to take one of the crates back to the village. And, Mapache's like, hey, what happened to the other, box? And Dutch is like, hey, it fell off on the trail. And he's like, bullshit. Your guy took it.
And he's laughing too.
He knows what's up.
Yeah.
He also says this guy's mom told us he took it. That's
right.
Yeah. The woman he killed, his mother, gave them up.
Yeah.
Which fair.
Oh, I thought it was Angel's mom, but either way, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Mapache's like, yeah, we're going to take Angel. And Dutch does this, Borgnine does this amazing bit of acting here.
Oh, man.
Where you can see it's all in his eyes, where he's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because he's by himself. He can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
So, basically he says something to the effect of, he's like, we're going to take Angel. And he's like, he's a thief, like, you take care of him. And he walks out acting like nothing's wrong. Like, he's just like, well, I guess, hey, you fucked up. This is how, you fuck around, find out. When he gets back to the camp with the remaining, 3 of them, basically, he's just like, yeah, we got to go. This ain't right. We got all our money. We could whore all we want. We could go retire. We could buy our land. Like, all of that stuff can happen now without, but Angel's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of see them kind of going through the motions of like their like their previous victories were kind of a lot more louder. They were much louder, and they were having blasts splashing around in a cask of wine, like all this really kiddie kind of stuff that they just never get tired of. I mean, God, at one point, I think it's the second time, the one guy gets so drunk, he's like, my fiance, like
I love yeah.
Right before this, they go to see Mapache, and this is where they find Angel being dragged around the circle by the Packer.
Brutal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
he's tied to the back
Pike,
of a car.
Pike says to him, you know what, I'll give up, my share of the payment to buy Angel back. And Mapache's like, nah, like...
I don't need gold.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, he literally said, I forgot about that.
And that's when they decide to go, like, fuck off, do a little more, get a little more horning in. Because
depression horning,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's sad.
It is.
Again, like this movie really doesn't present any of the shit like macho.
Yeah.
It's just human, vulnerable, desperate. And in this moment, like a few times in this movie, William Holt has said, "Let's go," and it's a commanding one. It's one that like changes the mood. It gets everybody up and it gets them ready to go. But here's everyone kind of just like sitting there with their riches, and he's just not having it. He like pays the girl he's with, and
pays the girl he's with. He noticed that she has like a baby in the corner, and he's like,
Yeah.
And then you hear outside the two guys are arguing with the prostitute because she said 16 each, and they were like, no, 16 for both of us, kind of a deal. And the one cool thing I noticed, like in almost every one of these scenes, Ernest Borgnine's just hanging out outside. Like he's
he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. He's
not really
into
interested in teenage sex workers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a complicated dude.
He is. Not a lot about his character, honestly. We get a lot of backstory of other characters, but not his. But
he's capable. He's loyal. He has a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
And
he's a sociopath.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's because you can't relate to the way he just will zone the fuck out on something and be like,
That's true.
And just like empty a shotgun into your belly. Yeah, it's
hard to relate to him.
Yeah, it is.
But but at this now,
I think I can relate a little bit.
That's concerning. We should be.
Yikes! You know where I live. No, there's
not
this.
That crazy.
You just walk out your front door tomorrow, and he's sitting outside.
He's just like smiling with his head cocked, like it's an A24 film. Like, no, that was Halloween. This is after Thanksgiving. We're gonna. Something else. Santa clown. I don't know.
He's Krampus, yeah.
So this is where we get Pike delivering like the best "Let's go" in the movie because it sucks the fucking air out of the room and everyone knows what he means.
Yeah, they know.
And then you get like the best fucking scene.
Yes.
Yeah. And I want to say like
street walk scene.
In that interview, didn't the interviewer like talk about how I don't remember what it was where I heard it, but like someone made a comment that like for most other film directors that would be the moment where he gives this heroic speech or some shit, this rallying speech. But we did not fucking need that. And it's a perfect moment. That's what it is. Yeah.
It's to Peckinpah's direction that Holden saying "Let's go" and it meaning literally everything.
It's final.
It's you know what the fuck this is.
You didn't need any more than that.
You didn't need him being this is Independence Day for the world. Like none of that shit.
There's no rallying speech. There's no morale. They know they're like we're going to hell. Like
we're going to get Angel back. Is the initial. Now that's what they're planning. This is important. They are planning to get Angel back. They're planning on either shooting their way out or whatever. But they're planning. That's the plan, is to get Angel. Yeah. And so this incredible man, the four of them line up on the street and they got their shotguns fully fucking loaded. They're ready to go. Yeah. They got their pistols on the holster. And what's amazing about this walk scene is that it was done on the spot. Like
what an iconic moment too.
Yeah, and Pike is wearing. Well, Han Solo definitely stole Pike's outfit.
Too. Big time.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Add red stripes to the pants, and there you go.
But there it is. They're the four of them are walking up the street. You see bands playing. There's like soldiers playing on the street and stuff. No one seems to pay them much mind, but they're kind of not getting in their way either.
Yeah.
No,
and
soldiers
it's
just like milling around everywhere.
Yeah, there's like some of them are playing something, and it's the soundtrack, and it's all happening in the moment.
You know what the Mexican army
Peckinpah is running around behind the camera, being like, "Yeah, all right, now walk." Like, and he's like directing just people like fucking now. And they just did this shit. This wasn't like they plotted it out. Like they spent weeks on the bridge. You know what I mean? They spent weeks planning the bridge because they only had one shot. This they just did in the moment.
I'm looking at this GIF that you posted in the chat.
Yeah.
And of the walk. And I just noticed something that's like just one of those little stupid things. Ben Johnson is on the far left as he's walking. He's got his shotgun cradled in, his arms. And as he's walking down the street, there's a guy off to his side, and he just jukes up the shotgun a little bit so he doesn't hit him in the head and puts it right back where it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's just little shit like that.
This film is full of details.
Yeah.
And it rewards you. Like each time you watch it, you're like, son of a bitch. There's always like a little thing that'll pop up where you're like, like the guns thing I didn't pick up until like my third or fourth viewing. Where I was like, oh fuck, those are kind of modern weapons. Like there's that's a shotgun,
like pump action shotgun.
Right.
There's very few 6-shooters in this film.
But I mean there's a couple of like different rifles. It's like all of the guns are here.
Oh, dude! After the American Civil War,
it's weird to see them with the new ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. After the American Civil War, things got weird with modern technology, where it's like, no, that's when modern warfare started.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. World War I's a horror unto itself.
World War I, yeah.
This is at worst bleeding out in a canyon. Or what happens next?
Yeah. Oh, and the thing about the guns too. I mean, after the original bank robbery, way back at the beginning of this podcast and the beginning of this film, Pike puts the 1911. He puts the semi-automatic in the saddlebag, and he only takes it out again at the end of the movie. He just needs another gun, but that's not the gun he carries.
Right.
And like that's the whole kind of premise behind the heist is like to get the state of the art rifles for the from Mapache's troops.
Yeah.
So they could be a force and kind of carve out a I don't know area around.
They think it'll help, basically.
Yeah, they think it'll help.
Yeah.
It will. I mean, there's no way it wouldn't. It's like, oh shit, my soldiers have more guns now. Oh, cool. Like that works out. In that
modern bolt action rifles, 1911. I think there was a case of hand grenades. They said, and then that that light machine.
Okay, this movie has Chekhov's rifles, Chekhov's machine gun, Chekhov's grenades,
Chekhov's mass cannon. I mean,
oh god,
yeah.
And then the four of them show up at the same place that they showed up the first time they all met, and everyone's drinking and having a good time, except like Angel.
Who is barely alive.
He's been beaten to fucking back. Like
he's just a puddle of blood.
Skidded.
Yeah, he's not great. Yeah,
you could recognize him, but only just. And the guys come back and they're like, "Yeah, they're like, what do you want?" And he's like, "We want Angel." And Mapache just slits the motherfucker's throat.
Drunk as fuck. Brings him up. He's like, slits his throat. He's like, yeah, I'll give him to you. He cuts his bindings.
He brings him over like he's gonna give him up. Like you said, he cuts the bindings behind him.
Mm-hmm. And then the most beautiful moment in the film.
Yeah.
Where Pike shoots Mapache right in the chest. And then everything stops.
And for like a minute they could almost walk out of there for like a second.
It is such a beautiful moment because it's just like, oh, you can just do that. Oh, you can just shoot the fucker.
It's not like everybody else around them because it's like they're liked him. Like that's the other thing. It's like there's such hesitation where they're like, "Oh shit, he's dead."
They're like, who do we take orders from now?
Exactly.
What do we do?
No one can order us to shoot them.
Yeah. It's this beautiful, beautiful moment of just that quiet confusion, that quiet kind of chaos. Like, oh, fuck.
And Ernest Borgnine's giggle.
Yeah, Dutch laughs.
He just starts smiling, and like Pike knows this is it.
Yeah, they've all got their guns out. And,
what are we gonna do?
Man, that smile! That smile is just—it's fucking iconic, is what it is.
It's haunting.
Yeah, Because he just looks like he's completely unhinged. He looks like he is having the time of his life, and he looks like a fucking animal.
He's making eye contact with the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
He's
very
like,
very much an "I'm going to hell, but I intend to deserve it" moment.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But it's
taking all of you with me.
Passes through them, through the Gorch brothers, through Pike, through Dutch. Like all of them look at each other, and they're just like,
"This is it."
They start laughing.
Yeah.
They're like, "This is it. Fuck it. Like we did it. Like fuck it. We choose our ending." And then begins one of the most batshit insane gunfights for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Like
it's not
the Battle of Bloody Porch.
Yeah.
It's funny because throughout the entire movie, whenever these guys get into like an argument with each other, where they're right about the point to like cut each other's throats, everybody cuts through the tension with a good laugh session. And like at the back of my mind, I'm like, well, thank God they were laughing, because if not, they'd be at each other's throats again.
This is that inverted, I think.
Yeah, this is like, okay, we're going to laugh it off for each other, but it's because we're signing up for what's coming next.
Yeah. This is what Catholic repression gets you.
Because Pike just like, you know what? Fuck this German. And just because he sees the German guy.
The first guy he shoots.
He's the first guy he shoots.
And the thing is he's looking for him. It's like, where the fuck is the German?
Oh,
there he is.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. Like he takes the shot, but then he like slowly turns around, stands up, straightens his arm, aims, and then shoots the motherfucker, and then it's on.
Yeah, right in the chest.
It's just so on. Like everyone gets a piece, man. There's grenades thrown. There's a lady with a shot. There's a little kid with a rifle. Like it's got it all. There's
no honor. There's like no dignity in this either.
It's a shit show.
It's a shit show. Women are killed. The kid doesn't get. They don't show that. But like, there's no rights. Like everyone's an asshole. Like there's no good dignity or glory or right and wrong.
Oh, and we should mention that the fucking Maxim Gun Browning, whatever, is set up.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I was just about to say, thankfully, someone managed to get the machine gun mounted on the tripod.
And it's on display. Like, that's the thing. This asshole set it up as like a display. It's fully loaded, and everyone gets a turn on it.
And so this is called the Battle of Bloody Porch because, like,
Jesus,
behind the scenes, they had basically what amounted to a factory setup because they ended up killing like 6,000 people on screen or something like that. Like, I don't know if they used it all, but they shot
a ridiculous amount.
It's an insane amount. And so these guys are wearing the same shirt over and fucking over again for each of these like shoots. And their prop people would go and they would like either iron something on it to flatten it out and then like smooth it out and then paint it to make it look dirty so that they didn't have to actually keep stitching the whole time because they're trying to put a bunch of shoots in. They said they blew up each of these shirts like 30, 40 times or something like that. But like, yeah, if you watch this, it's carnage and it's insane and it's glorious. It's
what did you say it was like? It's like a plate, then a piece of steak, and then like
they'd get like a copper plate and like a piece of steak with like an M80 in it, and that's the guy taking the shot and then flipping backwards. So these dudes are like wearing the same shit over and over again that has to smell rancid and definitely is giving them some sort of disease, and they're bruised.
Yeah, that shit must hurt.
And it's hot.
And it's hot as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot as shit.
And they're just doing that over and over and over again.
And it's one of those where if you want to pause certain instances, you will probably see the same guy die 5 different times. But who cares?
It's done so fast. Like the edits are really fast. So I didn't notice.
It's got to be
like to watch it twice.
Yeah,
I think the average cut time is like 1 point something seconds.
Yeah.
And it gets it across that like mass death is happening right now.
And this isn't like those like when an actor doesn't know how to fight, so they super zoom in and they do shaky cam. This isn't that like this. These edits aren't confusing necessarily.
No. Yeah,
it's just washing over you.
Yeah.
And when it's over, you're just like, the fuck?
And the only reason these guys are surviving, as long as they're surviving, is that they are professional killers.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're taking hits in non-vinyl plate,
and they're sober.
But they are getting... And there's this beautiful moment where, like, Dutch and Pike are loading their guns for the last time under, like, the machine gun. Like
a scene that would come up again in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Right, yeah. And it's just this really like, like that whole I wouldn't have done it any other way is paid off here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And once again, because he calls him a lazy bastard throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, you lazy bastard. And then they jump out and die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And, and then, like we said, it ends with, Pike he didn't even go in that shit. He's like smart. He's like the smartest guy in the movie.
Oh, yeah. He's watching it from a hilltop and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Deke? Yeah.
Deke.
Yeah. Sorry,
Deke. I'm
Deke.
sorry.
Yeah, Deke Thornton.
Deke Thornton's up
he's,
there just like...
He's like sitting on a hilltop with his binoculars. He's like, what the
Yeah.
Because he has no idea. He's been chasing them, but he has
doesn't
no idea
know what's going on.
No.
Yeah. No.
It's just
He's
him
not
and his...
aware of this whole deal.
Yeah.
No.
He didn't know they were doing this shit.
Yeah.
No. Just
Fucking Pike and them got there way early.
Mhm.
Early enough that they had enough time to plan and do all this shit.
for real. So everyone's dead.
Pretty much.
Except for Pike. And,
Except for
and our
Pike
guy.
and the ghouls. Yet.
Deke.
And
Deke.
Deke, yes.
Deke.
Deke's alive. The ghouls are alive.
And Freddie Sykes is alive.
Yeah, he's alive.
Well, that's the thing that we should bring up is earlier he is, bringing up the wagons and the horses so they can make their getaway and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he gets shot in the hip, which is
Right,
not a great place to get shot.
Yeah.
So
How is he walking?
And he gets away. Well, he was on a horse.
Yeah, he
gets
was on a
shot
horse
and
and he gets shot.
And he shows up again at the very end to like.
Well,
basically,
there's a great scene there where he's hiding. And then the bounty hunters are looking for him. Then he turns to his right, and one of the Mexican ninjas is standing next to him.
Yeah.
From the village. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't know what happened to him for the rest of the film until the
Machete
end.
Squad. Those
you
guys
think,
are fucking
he's
terrifying.
probably dead anyway. So
None of them said anything. They just stood around like looking real hard and holding machetes.
It was kind of sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that rules.
they have that kind of aura that I could be looking at them through a scope on a rifle half a click away and I would still feel
Be
intimidated.
scared. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, I better not miss. He could run this far.
So they're the only survivors. And
Yeah.
Deke and the Coot are basically like the ghouls first steal guns, strip corpses, do ghoul shit.
They don't
like,
even
they're
notice
going-
that their target is amongst the dead at first.
They're
they
doing
know
like
they
a
don't.
running,
They do,
a running
right.
tally. Like, this guy's worth this much. Oh, and he's worth this much.
Oh, it's got
Yeah.
gold teeth. Give me a knife. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
Jesus
Coffer and
fucking
TZ
Christ.
are so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they're carving teeth out of corpses. Like,
I'm trying to
and-
think of who they remind. Well, they remind me of TC and Jody a little bit
Yeah.
from the Preacher comics.
a little
Like
bit.
that's
Yeah.
obviously a tip of the hat, but like these guys are so funny.
Yeah, they're such assholes.
They're comic relief for sure, but they're still really worth watching.
There's an edge to them, that's earned.
Yeah.
Like you can imagine someone being like this. There's a moment in the film where the Gorch brothers are sitting with a girl inside Angel's Village, and she has a string and she's making it go like up and out and stuff.
It's a knock game.
Cat's cradle.
It's a knot game, a cat's cradle
like
kind of
Cat's
thing, right?
Cradle.
And she's like blowing dude's mind.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because it's one of those things where, it shows that these guys they're human in that way that they can see something and learn something and be like, wow, I've never seen that before. And it makes them like people. All right, now we got to break this fucker down a little bit. Not too long, but like, I love that scene at Angel's Village because nothing happens.
Mhm.
For once. My God. They're just kicking it. Angel's he's on a bender, but everybody else is like kind of kicking it. They're just hanging out. They're like talking to the folks. They're learning stuff. And it's the closest they've come to ease.
Yeah.
Like in their lives, you get the impression. It's the most home they felt. They were welcomed by the village and everything. Like this is the closest, and it fucking scares the shit out of them. That's why they leave. They got to do this thing. They could have probably just hung out there.
Because even the elder, I remember, he said that like we all desire to be children again. Sometimes even the worst of us. Sometimes especially the worst of us.
Yeah.
And
that
comes across.
That line hits pretty hard, I think.
Yeah, it
that
does.
elder was laying some heavy shit on him, but he knew he was talking about, man.
It's good shit too. Like it isn't like your typical like hoo-ha, like hand wavy, I'm a granola fucking woo, artist kind of shit. This is just guy who's lived a life. And got real advice. I mean, this always makes me think of, like, when I dropped out of college the first time, like when I was 20. It was because I realized two things. One, I wrote creative writing classes around an English curriculum wasn't going to do it for me. And the second thing was, in taking those classes, I realized this is like 19, 20-year-old. I haven't done shit. Because the older people in those classes are writing really interesting things. And it's coming from a place of having experienced stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's like something traumatic or somebody who's talking about something common that I've just never considered doing before. It was really interesting to see that. And I was like, well, I guess the third thing I realized is I'm absolutely not an academic. I just, just fucking not, man. Like, I just want to make stuff. I can't do paperwork. I'm sorry. I just zone out.
Yeah.
But like that happiness, that comfort, and like stability that they have for this one moment in the film really kind of brightens everything else in the movie.
Yeah.
Because everything's violent,
it's beautifully shot.
Beautifully shot. The way the light comes through the trees and stuff.
Yeah, it's so green there. It's the greenest place in the movie.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Like even the town in the first scene, like it looks like a real town. In the idea that it's like it's dirty. It's very
looks like a real town
dirty.
in Texas at the time.
The only thing that's missing from that scene is there's not enough horse shit.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But like the violence is different. Like the three major violence scenes are different.
Yeah.
And there's like interstitial stuff in between. There's a lot of character building and stuff that's very interesting. It's good. The acting is interesting in that these are people who are acting like they have been in the middle of nowhere interacting with very few people for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Only each other. They have their in-jokes and stuff. They know how to push each other's buttons. They know how to defuse each other. But when it comes to kind of like dealing with other people, it's all transactional business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. Kill somebody or laugh awkwardly with them.
Yeah. Still that killing that Teresa that's still just like such a fucking you know how if it had been posed differently you're supposed to feel there.
Yeah.
And this isn't that. And now you're stuck because now you got to question yourself. It's such a great moment. And as far as writing is concerned, there's a lot to be pulled from this movie as far as like constructing character. Like showing what's important.
Yeah. Like, again, even how it handles like race and misogyny, it's
not glorifying.
It's not glorifying it because even like
it's
Pike,
very like there's so much duality to everything.
Well, even Pike when they get into because even when they get into his backstory, like how he got his scars on his body is like his wife, a woman he was having an affair with. It wasn't his wife.
It wasn't his wife.
It was someone he wanted to marry. She gets murdered by her, like in the room with him by her jealous husband.
Yeah.
And shoots him multiple times and then he runs away and he says like, that always haunts me and I never got to kill that guy.
Yeah.
And it's never resolved.
No.
It's just kind of put there where it's like women just keep dying around him.
Yeah.
This is why he's living, he's like haunted and pushed by this fucking thing. It's, you understand everybody's motivation by the end.
Yeah.
And when they all come
it's
together,
not subtle in that way.
No. It's subtle in like when you pull back to the 1,000-yard kind of view of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how things got from this point to this point where it's just like, Jesus, this fucking movie's brilliant. It's just ridiculously good.
Well, later too, again, when you're learning more about the, who carries the weight in the gang, Pike goes on about how like he was the one stealing the army uniforms and the gear for the last job that they did together while the brothers were like whoring it up in Reno or wherever the hell.
Lyle and Tector.
Yeah.
Tector. What a name.
That's such a great name.
They don't name people like that anymore.
Tector Gorge. Goddamn.
Lyle Gorge, Tector Gorge.
I mean, it's accurate to the time too, because when you look up names, even like even in 1913, it's like, man, they don't name people like that anymore.
No, they do not.
Well, like
any Murnus recently? I don't think so.
Oh man, and just the overall, like I'm gonna have to watch this movie several more times to actually fully.
I intend to watch it this weekend.
But like, it's man, I don't even know if this movie's even trying to say anything. It's just it feels like
it's trying to tell a story.
Yeah.
A certain way for sure, but it's trying to tell a good story, and the way he found his way through that, because he's one of the co-writers. There's like 3 writers on this. They definitely hammered something out. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, the gunfight, I think, or the walk to the gunfight at the end was like 3 lines of script.
Yeah, you're right.
And he was just like, "All right, no, we're gonna blow this out."
For some reason, what just came to my mind is how hard it is to improvise some stuff. Because I think a scene that was equally improvised, the Beast emerges during the Alien, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. They didn't tell him.
Because then the script just ends, and then they just filmed what the pandemonium.
Yeah.
And,
oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just how
the one actor peed herself.
Yeah, man.
I would have.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Big Sam.
Yeah, so it's like it's difficult to get certain. It's difficult to let things just happen on film.
Well, I mean, at this point,
organically,
I think Peckinpah may have like left a little room for improv, but I mean, he was also shooting like 9 hours a day. He's getting up at 4 a.m, working on scenes for the day until about 7, when a cinematographer would pick him up and they would discuss the shit on the way in. And they start at 9 and just go all day. And absolute madman. Like, there's no way to keep up with them. But they're okay. So the first they do the bank robbery. They get back. They find out that they have the metal washers.
Yeah.
Okay. When they went to shoot that scene, no one knew their lines, and Peckinpah lost his fucking mind. He told everybody, he's like, "You got 15 minutes. Go to pick a corner, and if you can't pull this fucking scene off, you're out."
What? And he had a habit of firing people.
Yeah. Well, he had just been fired from a movie before he filmed this. I can't remember what movie it was, but this was like a comeback for him. When did he come back? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like, wow.
No shit.
He's not an artiste, but he's also but he's still kind of insane.
Yeah.
He doesn't give off like an auteur vibe, in spite of the fact that he might be.
Yeah.
Despite his best efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting, complicated fella.
Yeah. Very dark. Very dark.
So dark.
Yeah.
So I think I had.
Man. Like, I kind of have a small crush on him now, though.
It's that mustache. It's that little mustache.
little John Waters mustache.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. He's literally the polar inverse of John Waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, it's insane.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because they kind of look the same in a lot of ways, too.
Well, not even
I didn't
just
think that at first either.
I mean, I feel like
the mustache now, and I'm like,
not even just looking the same.
Mustache.
It's the matter of like what their careers were and what they made with what they had. It was like the mirror inverse of each other.
Yeah. I want to see John Waters make Convoy.
The closest we're going to get,
magical.
I would have, if I were still living near the district, I would have taken a train up to Baltimore and just like hung out until I found him and just said, "Hey, look, I'm not going to bother you. I just want to ask one question. Have you ever considered remaking Convoy?"
And then just turn around and walk.
And just turn around and leave. I don't want to know. I just want to see the film. I'll be in it. Be happy to be in it.
Convoy.
A CoinOps McGillicuddy production.
The same person who directed The Wild Bunch directed Convoy. The lesson here is, kids, don't do cocaine.
Yeah.
No.
unless you're filming The Wild Bunch, apparently, because I think that's the only reason why this film got made, is because he was just
insane on it.
Banking cocaine to wake up at 4 a.m, work on the film.
It's amazing how calm this film is for a lot of it.
Honestly, yeah.
This film,
it concentrates its violence.
Yeah, it's because they got 2 volumes.
It really encapsulates, I think, a lot of the human experience in. Now I sound really pretentious, but anyways, so what we're doing here. The moments of just like abject, horrible violence, and it's just interspersed between these long scenes.
It's definitely something I'm wanting to see in like a gang film. You know what I mean? For or whether it's Cyberpunk or Jason or not, but it's definitely something I would have.
Well, this is a gang film.
I know it is.
Yeah.
But this kind of like hits
is.
that where it's like I kind of wanted to see a gang film a lot like this.
Yeah.
And no one's really done a modern take on a fucking scumfuck gang of assholes.
You can't see me, but I'm looking real smug and put my hands
yeah.
Can't see.
No, yeah. No, you
This
did.
is what I've been waiting to hear. Dog.
I know, yeah. Because that's what this film is, and this is why, like, you should, like, we keep saying it, just because you write sci-fi and into cyberpunk and whatnot, like, you need to, as a writer, as a creator, as someone who experiences media, you got to know I'm sorry, but as a writer, you have to know everything.
Well, no, I won't say that.
Not everything. Not everything.
You need to watch it.
I will say that there have been some touchstones where it's just like, look, if you want a really good example of if you're trying to do this thing, you don't have to stick to the genre. Like, go the fuck out. And as far as like a redemption story that doesn't quite redeem, as far as like, you know, how to do a bunch of unlikable people as interesting characters that are compelling to watch. How to make violence horrible.
Just heinous. And we're saying this as people who enjoy the Raid movies.
I mean, if you want to see like a modern treatment of kind of what you're describing, in my opinion, for like modern westerns, Netflix did I think it was a series, Godless, or maybe it was a movie.
Yeah,
Godless,
it was very good.
With
Godless is
very
cool.
Good.
Yeah,
Jeff Daniels, but it was like
sort of episodes or something.
Gang, like relationships, and just the way he keeps them in line, and
masculinity
he's like
too.
Cowboy himself. It's really well done.
No, Godless was really good. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that.
It's got Lady Mary from Downton Abbey, and
it does. She kills a guy.
Remember the actor's name from *Halt and Catch Fire*? The main character, he's in it too as a sheriff.
Lee Pace.
Nice. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Godless was good. Godless was good. Yeah.
Godless was really good.
Yeah.
But no, the whole thing is like, this Western definitely kind of fit in the wheelhouse of everything that we were talking about. Just also kind of feels like us a little bit. Here we are.
We're totally like this film.
We got one episode to go for the year. You know, we're going in for the one last kill. You know, we got to go rescue our souls.
Yeah, we got to.
Boys, one last job.
President. Are you?
And it's all
talking about day.
Well, in light of recent events, I feel like this is very relevant.
It's extremely relevant.
Fucking Luigi.
Presidente Trump.
Looks like we got a little shake duck on
the shit with Luigi Mangione.
Yeah,
man.
That feels like a different movie.
What was there was a really good, there was a bunch of tweets I found about that made me laugh.
But also
we got a little milkshake ducked on this guy, but it's all right.
Yeah, a little bit, but I'll forgive him for it. But at the same time, it's like, he just said fuck it.
Well, I understand.
He was in a desperate situation.
Sharky on Blue Sky said, "Well, I understand Luigi's Manifesto if I haven't played Luigi's Mansion."
No, but to your point there, Shadow. I don't want to make big grandiose statements or whatever, but we are in a place in our history right now where the media landscape that we are a small, tiny part of is changing. Things are going to be changing moving here forward. It's not going to be for the best.
No.
Things are going to be happening in tech that are not going to be great for humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
And we trying to reach people with this signal and this sound, it's very, it's not dissimilar from, the bandits on the other side of the river just trying to keep doing what they were doing to get their lifestyle.
When do I get machine gun?
Getting old.
Jesse L. Taylor of Blue Sky said, "New York is going to lock Luigi up in the state penne." Listen, look, he might be a 26-year-old heel. I don't know. Been fun making fun of him, and the result's the same. So
just because he did turn out to be like the left-wing hero we all thought.
I mean, here's the thing.
He's as tired as all of us are.
Yeah.
The catharsis you feel isn't him so much as the result.
Yeah,
basically.
And that's
why I would still buy him a drink if I could.
It's the act. It's the propaganda of the deed. Everyone's looking at everyone else like somebody was well, somebody was gonna, right? Like,
well, I think what we're seeing in all of this is the stakes if you're going to do some shit like this. And I'm not entirely like I'm not conspiracy brain about this because I really don't feel like I know enough, and I feel like that window is closing because now it's in the control of the authorities.
Well, the information,
it's not great. Like most of it's not great. If I had any sort of like weird conspiracy about it, there's like I entertain for my own entertainment.
Yeah,
the possibility that he gave himself up because he kind of wanted to like make the point. But now I'm seeing some of these pictures of him being like pulled into like whatever, these photos of him, and he seems pretty pissed. So I'm just like, well, I don't know what you thought, man. Like, it's like you killed a dog. I mean, like, and I don't know what they're gonna do to you. And so that's the thing I'm freaking out about. It's just like maybe if you're gonna kill a CIA, just like go to Mexico, dude. Like, get the fuck out. It's like, Like, quit! Don't go to McDonald's and smile.
I was so hoping he was just going to DB Cooper the fuck into history and like,
same.
A little bit.
Know.
And people could tell stories about it, but now we got his like fucking Facebook, and he has like a tweet where he's just like, "Have you guys seen the movie Idiocracy?" And I'm just like, "No."
It's not like back in the day where like you hear stories about like Dillinger and whatnot. It's like it's not like we knew Dillinger's fucking Facebook profile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I'm sorry, Luigi Mangione. They're not gonna put your like dick in a jar in the archives like they did with Dillinger. Apparently, according to conspiracy theorists.
That's Rasputin. They didn't do that to Dillinger, did they? No, that's Rasputin. They put Rasputin.
I heard it about Dillinger.
Yeah, Dillinger was supposedly well endowed.
Yeah, it might even be a plot point in the Illuminatus trilogy. So it's like,
yeah, it is actually. Yeah,
I think they wanted his semen for the clones. There was Dillinger clones. That's what it was.
Right.
Okay.
Need them. Got to have them.
Yeah, we need them. Yeah,
they need to smoke cigarettes and menace Mulder.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm not sure if that's a thing. I just made that up.
I believed you.
But what you're saying is wrapped up, I mean, perfectly in the end of this movie when Deke goes and he's looking at the body of his once friend and still his friend. I mean, he is not thrilled that Pike is dead.
Yeah,
and
slung over the back of a horse.
Yeah, he takes his 6-shooter.
Yeah,
mostly because I'm going to have something of us.
Mm-hmm.
And the ghouls aren't going to get this. And then he just goes outside and sits down.
Yeah.
Which was surprising to me when they showed him just like dejected sitting down. I'm like, that's not what I was expecting.
He's done.
So
it changes
vulnerable.
the tenor of so much of what just happened.
Yeah.
Like, it makes this like, okay, the violence is over. And like, okay, Peckinpah said on the scene where they're leaving the town and they're having like, the procession and everything. He put that in there because he wanted to establish like a scene where you felt for the guys.
Yeah.
You saw that they had built some friendships up, and you have a little bit of goodwill toward them.
Yeah.
So that when he turns them into hamburger later, you're gonna feel that too.
Yeah.
And I frankly think you're right. I think fucking Deke going outside here just ties it off perfectly.
Yeah.
It really makes it.
I definitely will say this. The other movie that came out also in 1969 that I feel like tells a very similar story, perhaps a little more artfully, a little less honestly, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will say about it is I comparing ending to ending, I'm not like not seeing what happens in Butch Cassidy. The way you see it's like catharsis.
Because it just ends on a freeze frame, right? Or something.
It ends on a freeze frame where they're about to go out and get riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
I would rather
not to mention half the movie turns into fucking what is it?
Didn't have raindrops keep falling?
Damnation Alley.
Yes.
In that movie? Yeah, that movie fails forever because of that song.
It was trying to be did Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid came before this film or after?
Same year. I don't know exactly.
Same year. So it was basically trying to do almost the same thing, but like less, not show you the obvious violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It won awards.
Mm-hmm.
But like
I don't think it's a good film.
The Wild Bunch is up there with like for me like Wings of Desire and like Pie.
Next one. Oh,
films that just like they stapled my brain when I saw it. And I was just
again,
there's more here.
There's a catharsis at the end. It's not just ends on a abrupt note.
This
movie gives you a moment to decompress, and then
there is a resolution. It's not a great one, but it's there.
Right.
It might have been the use of slow motion, which I can't even think of any movies before 1969 that use like the commercial slow motion cameras, but like this movie kind of reminded me a bit of the movie Point Blank. If you guys have ever seen it.
Which one? Point Break?
Point Blank.
Oh.
It's got Lee Marvin in it from '69, and it's a neo-noir. And yeah, I mean that one's a lot of fun too. You can see where John Wick got some inspiration.
I have
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, Lee Marvin is just
it's got a nearly silent protagonist.
I mean, Angie Dickinson is great in everything.
Yeah, it is also a lot of the same vibes in terms of like themes and shit like that. Man, that's a good one.
I got a version of him singing Wandering Star that's really good.
Oh yeah, from Paint Your Wagon.
It's beautiful.
I read someplace, I think that he was offered like a role in this movie and he turned it down to go make Paint Your Wagon.
Shit.
Yeah, you know.
What a get that one. There's no way really that there's no reason to. Okay, so there's a remake of this that's been in development hell forever that really is attached to, and it should never happen.
That's like when they
this film exists and they put better versions of it out.
That's like they tried to remake Unforgiven.
Yeah,
they did, and it's not.
I will say, I mean, as far as Western remakes go, I was really happy with the 310 to Yuma. I was not upset.
That was very.
That was okay.
I was really happy
had a
with
fantastic gunfight in it.
Isn't that one a remake? That one's a remake.
I was really happy
It's a
with
remake. It's really
the Christian Bale one. Yeah.
with
Russell
True
Crowe.
Grit, also a remake. So
I actually prefer the new True Grit over the original.
yes, as well.
I have to see that.
Agree 100%.
Mr. Coburn.
But so they're not. It's not always bad. It's not always bad.
It's not always bad. But I can see no reason to remake this movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a product of its time. It holds up like a motherfucker.
Yeah. And like the characters in the movie, also products of their time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. This film wasn't worried about pretense here.
Yeah.
He was just telling a story about guys who they're pieces of shit at the end of their lives. They're doing their best and it's not working.
It somehow works in its favor again, just being pretty shitty.
That's brought up where there's a scene where Pike says we need to start thinking beyond our guns because those days are long gone.
Yeah.
This film knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And intentionally or not, it's a hell of a thing to see. Like I recommend anybody watching this fucking thing. I mean,
they do not make them like they used to.
They rarely make them like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with the end of it, I mean, when the coot rides up on the horse and he's doing okay now, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
His wound has been tended to, and that's fine. I don't mind that. It's just for him, it's just another scar.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, we're going to go raise some hill. You want to come?"
Yeah.
And it's pretty much what he's offering him because for them, the Wild West still lived a little while longer in Mexico.
Yeah.
So
because it's not the matter of just being outlaws. It's a matter of it's not because he even says it's not quite the same. Good night. Everyone say good night to my grandfather.
Okay.
Good night.
Cool. You too, listener. I knew if you did. Anyway.
It's like Tinkerbell up in here.
Yeah, exactly. It's because he even says it's not quite how it used to be, but because it's they're joining a rebel faction,
and it's cool too because you got all the guerrilla guys are marching out past them. They're just collecting all the guns. Two of them come out with the machine gun on their shoulders. It's really it's cool.
And fucking and here's the best part. Deke knows Freddy. They worked together before.
Yeah.
It really drives home man, Deke's just been trying to get back with the gang. And the reason he's so pissed off is that most of them are gone, and they're the ones he liked.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even really have a beef with Pike.
No.
Yeah.
It was more like his circumstances.
Circumstances were what they were. Yeah.
Once his contract from the railroad was fulfilled, he was just like, I'm tuning out. And then they show it. They don't show it, but off camera, the bounty hunters get jumped down the road by the rebels. You hear a bunch of gunshots.
Yeah.
And he just kind of sits there and smiles as he hears it because he knew what was going to happen.
Oh yeah, no, they
not stupid.
Deke is so good.
Yeah.
He's so understated in this, and he's so good.
Well, Robert Ryan, also another like very noir actor. I've seen him in a couple of noir films.
Oh fuck yeah!
For like a minute, he's got the option to go in with the bounty hunters too.
Yeah,
he's just like, nah.
Yeah,
and the characters in this movie are very much of that sort of that philosophy of always keep your eye on an old man who is still alive, and when people usually die young.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're dealing with here. You're dealing with old men that are in a business where most people are dead before their time.
Yeah,
it's actually the most positive.
That's the thing. Okay, so like at one point, Freddy's talking about like one of them says something like they did this to us, and then Freddy gives this like they speech where he's just making fucking fun of them, and then he's disgusted at the end of it, and it is incredible. It is like as good as the speech from fucking actually William Walton's wife in Network.
Yeah,
like it's absolutely
a great monologue.
Yep.
Just nails their dicks to the dirt, and he all but spits in their fucking face at the end of it.
Yeah. And they're pissed.
Yeah. And so you get to the end of it, and he's still kicking, he's still alive, and it makes that scene even harsher.
Mm-hmm.
Like thinking back to it, where you're just like, man, you better listen to everything this fucking guy says. He's immortal, apparently. Like, what the fuck?
When Eva Pike is saying, he's done his stuff. He's done things.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about these things.
And other stuff.
Yeah.
What
does that mean?
Okay, is that all tobacco
if you can say that he killed people but not mention the other stuff, that's usually a red flag.
Yeah,
these guys in particular being able to be like in other stuff.
Yeah,
because they show you a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Oh man, this. So all right. So how do you feel? Let's go one by one. Scum thoughts. Like, where'd this place take you? What this do?
Oh man, I'm not used to Western films.
No.
This one's definitely one of the better ones I've seen. I appreciate its exploration of violence. It's weird. Like, again, all the bad parts of this film work in its favor. Like, it's weird breaking down of like weird masculinity, misogyny, everything, and just like being really upfront about it and getting the happiest ending we could in this situation presented. You join Pancho Villa and actually channel your outlawness to retort a good cause.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah,
it's great.
Shadow Link.
I think this might be the best Western I've ever seen. Like, there's literally, I can't think of another one, honestly. But I also haven't seen like a lot of Westerns.
Have you watched all of Deadwood?
Deadwood? No, I haven't seen it yet.
Nope, same. Never seen Deadwood.
I want to. Ian McShane.
I don't.
Ugh.
I've been saving it, and now that it wraps up with the movie, I'm going to have to watch it.
Again, I'm not a big Western
amazing.
guy.
It's my favorite.
But if some of them do it right, some of it have something to say. Like Unforgiven's awesome. That's all.
You got to look for post-Westerns, noir Westerns, and spaghetti Westerns. Those are the only ones that are really worth watching because everything else is just propaganda.
Oh, you mean the Italian tax breaks? Yeah, you should watch those. You absolutely should watch those.
It worked.
Yeah, Zero, what are you thinking?
Satiated. It was a very honest film, and I honestly enjoyed it much better in having analyzed its parts than I initially thought I was going to.
It's a hearty film, is what it is. If harsh.
Because I mean, like, it doesn't portray any of the bad things that are going on with it as like something that's positive or something that's.
It's not glorifying anything.
Something you should be aspiring to. So that's.
Yeah, I would not want to live in this era. Like I watched it with CoinOps the first time, and I was like, "What would be worse, microplastics or dysentery?" I think I'm gonna stick with the microplastics. That's what I know.
Yeah, I'm shooting a credit card every time I go now. Anyway, Dan.
So I grew up with Westerns, but the thing is I grew up with Westerns that were of the John Wayne variety, John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, and High Noon and stuff
likewise.
Like that. Yeah, where it's at least once during the movie, someone was going to shoot the gun out of someone's hand, and they were just going to hold their hand like, "Oh, that hurt." Someone shoots a fucking gun out of your hand, especially with your fingers in the on the trigger.
Your hand's
you're losing the finger.
Yeah.
And the finger goes with the gun, wherever the gun goes.
Right.
And I didn't, so that's what I grew up watching. I didn't get into spaghetti westerns until like much later. If I wasn't in my teens, I was pretty close to it. Mm-hmm. And that's when everything changed for me. Cause like you said, with the spaghetti westerns, it was totally different.
Realistic.
Yeah. Because there's really no good guys in spaghetti westerns.
Right.
Drama, so much passion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody talks about the Dollars films, with Clint Eastwood, but Clint Eastwood is not a good guy in those movies.
No.
And the funny
Sergio
thing,
Leone in general is fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
The soundtracks are incredible.
I just had a Western pop into my brain that I used to watch a lot as a kid because it was always on TV. Was The Quick and the Dead.
See, that's the funny thing, because I need to ask you which one. Is it the one with Sharon Stone or the one with Sam Elliott?
The Sam Raimi movie? Or
the Sam Raimi one. That's what I'm thinking
Raimi,
of. Right
yeah.
now. Sharon Stone?
Yeah, Sharon Stone.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that one's real good.
Yeah, that was the other Western.
The stupid thing is that there are two movies by that name. They are both Westerns, and one is based off a Louis L'Amour novel.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's not as good, but it is good. I mean, it's a Louis L'Amour novel, so it moves a lot slower than The Quick and the Dead.
Yeah, for sure.
There's another movie that kind of parodies this. Called My Name Is Nobody. It's a spaghetti Western. It was like a Sergio Leone production, but he did not direct it.
Okay. It's like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, kind of something like that. But it stars Henry Fonda, who was in, of course, tons of cowboy movies.
I hate Henry Fonda.
Have you seen Once Upon a Time in the West?
I have.
Oh my God.
So long.
All right, you need to watch that. If for no other reason than Henry Fonda did not want to be in that movie at all. It had nothing to do with that. And Sergio Leone basically, I don't know if he called him or if he met him somewhere, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you how this opens. There's going to be a scene at the beginning where someone is killing everybody, women, children, guys, just mowing them down. And then there's a scene where we're going to look at the boots of the killer as someone looks up at the killer who's been doing all this, and it's Henry Fonda. Mm-hmm. And Henry Fonda signed the contract. I mean, but so he's in this movie called My Name Is Nobody, and it's the same basic story. He's an old man. The West is changing. He needs to get out of the West. And Trinity, who is played by Terrence Hill, it's not Trinity. If you've not seen the Trinity movies, you got to go watch them. They're hilarious. Oh my fucking God, they're hilarious. All they made video games based on the Trinity movies.
Okay.
So his thing is he idolizes Henry Fonda's character, and he's going to help him get out of the West clean. Because to get out of the West clean, you basically have to die. So they're gonna stage this. But before he'll do it, Henry Fonda has to fight the Wild Bunch. And there is a scene.
Trademark.
Yeah, and there is a scene in the movie. The Wild Bunch is led by what's his name? I think his name was Jeffrey Holder. Okay. He was a character actor too, but he was in a whole lot of things. He's probably 12 because when this movie was made. But he's leading the Wild Bunch and all that, and I won't spoil anything because we're not talking about that movie. But the build up to the final gunfight, where it's 1 man versus 100 men, is absolutely fantastic. And it's got its moments of seriousness. Yes, it is a comedy Western. It is a spaghetti Western. It's got all of the marks and tropes of a spaghetti Western.
Right.
But it's still got that same story of, the West has changed. And at the end, Henry Fonda's writing to Trinity, basically saying, when it's not a place for people like me, it's now a place for people like you, and I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm. On a scale from the Wild Bunch to Seven Samurai, what are we talking here?
Neither. I mean, that's different.
Okay. Yeah,
different scale, man.
Okay.
This would be more like Top Secret. No,
and if you're going to keep it in the Western
that.
genre, then you're talking about the original Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that's literally it's not a literal shot for shot remake of Seven Samurai, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. Seven Samurai.
It's a nice tip of the hat.
It is. It's a better film.
Oh,
Now,
I love Seven Samurai.
I love
my god.
Samurai.
And I love The Magnificent Seven. So.
No, it's a great film. It's a nice,
Yul Brynner
and
Steve McQueen trying to outact each other is worth watching it for that alone.
Hell yeah, man! It's a lot of fun. It's good shit.
Yeah, because Steve McQueen was just basically poking Yul Brynner the entire time.
Don't completely sleep on westerns, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying too.
It's like literally every fucking genre. 90% of it's going to be dog shit. 10% of it's going to really resonate with you. There's going to be good stuff you don't like, and there's going to be bad stuff that you love. And, it's all going to serve some sort of purpose. Yeah. And it's pretty much just
find the weird shit.
Yeah, that's what we were saying about finding different.
If you want a weird Western that's like, it's stupid, you don't have to pay attention to it the entire time, and it's funny, you got to watch Cat Ballou.
Okay.
This is a movie starring Jane Fonda, Lee Marvin as the drunk gunfighter.
All right.
And for no particular reason whatsoever, it's got its own Greek chorus in Stubby K and Nat King Cole, who are singing throughout the entire fucking movie. Wow. Why? Who knows? It doesn't matter why. It's just one of those like, what in the hell am I watching? You could like flash to any scene in this movie and just go, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
There was a cowboy movie that made me think, what the fuck am I watching? It was really psychedelic. It literally had like a death acid trip, and I can't remember the name of it. It was like a Creole lawman against like this white guy who taught himself sorcery. There's
actually a genre of Western called acid Westerns.
Yeah, because it's based on a graphic novel, and I can't fucking remember what it is, so Discord help me. It was weird. Anyway, that is The Wild Bunch.
That's The Wild Bunch. Oh yeah, my movie recommendation is The Proposition. Because this is a direct tie-in to drive this, completely end this shit. It was directed by what's his name, Hillcoat, Nick Hillcoat. Oh God, he directed The Proposition. He also directed a movie using cinematics from Red Dead Redemption that was used as like promotional materials for it. John Hillcoat, that's his name. But Nick Cave wrote the script.
Nick Cave wrote.
Guy Pearce. What? Yeah, Nick Cave wrote the script of The Proposition. It's awesome. It's an Australian Western.
Oh yeah,
Australian Westerns are good too.
Yeah, that's a cool movie.
Those are fun.
So that also ties into the last movie we talked about, which is Ausploitation, but this is better than that. And check out The Wild Bunch. It's really good. This shit. What do we got? How do we close? Like, what are we talking about?
Dare I say
recommendations? Yeehaw,
guys! We managed to make the episode nearly as long as the movie.
Almost as long. It's almost exactly as long as the original cut, not the director's cut. Which we're not doing that. I can't. Yeehaw!
All systems are fully functioning. Running low-life.exe. System optimization is less than nominal. Server damage detected. Please stop whatever you are doing and make your way to the nearest exit. Technical support is on route. Please vacate the area. I repeat. Please leave. Are you even listening to me? I will shoot you. Error. Server block 3 is experiencing critical ignition.
That's right.
System failure imminent. I hope you are proud of yourself. Initiating the Low Life Podcast.